Hello, Internet. We're back, or I'm back. Been a minute. Took some time off for the move. I hope everyone's doing good. Mostly it's just a couple people chilling right now. I hope you're all having a lovely day. Anywho, so we are back for our homebrew adventure, The Might of the Imperium, written by yours truly, with my good friend Chris Beats and Lost Axioms, hanging out, I guess, over this way now. But so we're short Rob today, mostly because of a scheduling conflict. So we had him dip out of the story. He's going to be coming back probably in the next week or so. But in the meantime, we're going to be running a nice little party of two and going to be going over the consequences from last week's debacle. So for anyone who's new here and does not know, The Might of the Imperium is a homebrew campaign that I have developed. It takes place in a highly magical, very militaristic style world that's based kind of loosely on like ancient Egypt and Rome and Greece, kind of all amalgamated into one, with a pretty heavy focus on wartime conflicts. The reason the Magus Imperium has grown as powerful as it has is mostly due to its reliance on slave labor, which they collect essentially through their more or less endless conquests. Only in the last about 100 years or so has the wartime finally stopped, but now they essentially have enough of a workforce that it essentially is a self-refilling, I guess we could say, in the darkest of terms. Anyway, so mainly this campaign will be dealing with a few darker subjects that some people may find uncomfortable. I've discussed it with the players, what they're comfortable with, and we will not be crossing certain lines. However, there may be some moments that make viewers uncomfortable. If that does occur, feel free to step out for just a moment or permanently. It's whatever makes you comfortable. And we hope that you enjoy the show so far. What's up, JT? How's it going, bud? But
we ate someone once. It was
fun.
There's
like some cannibalism. There's obviously a heavy reference to slavery based mostly again on like ancient Romans, like that kind of time period. Which is a highly prevalent fucking thing. Anyway, so without further ado, I'm going to give the party a quick chance to introduce themselves and briefly describe their characters, starting from the top with my friend Chris Beats. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Chris Beats. I'm a mod for the channel here, and I'm playing Stanislav the Shiny. He's a golden man from top of his horns to the tip of his toes. He's a tiefling who's quite literally shiny gold. He's a paladin who doesn't get his powers from a god, but by being fucking awesome. That is how he gets his powers.
It's generally cool, yes.
Yes, and he recently recovered from some amnesia that he had. Yeah,
you gotta watch that.
Yeah.
Recovered is a loose sense. You remembered some things. Maybe not everything, but some things.
Remembered a bunch of stuff, yeah.
A bunch of stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, Stanislav the Shiny.
All right, on to Axioms.
Hello there. I am Lost Axioms. I am running a character who also is paying for the consequences of actions. As seems to be, like, if there's a title to this session, that'll be what it is consequences of our actions. I'm running a rogue fighter combination with 3 levels in rogue, 3 levels in fighter currently, and just fighter from here on out. Yeah, mercenary type background, and looking forward to seeing what our saviors want from us.
All right.
That's pretty much where I'm at.
Oh, going from there, we're going to jump right in. Quick recap from where we left off. What's up, bro? Thank you for dropping in for the first time. Once we dive into the game, I'm not going to have as much time to address chat, but I do appreciate you swinging in. Mad appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the game. Quick recap. Last session, we returned to the Bloodspring Arena, where Atin and Stanislav were to stand toe-to-toe against each other on the sands of the arena for the glory and entertainment of all in attendance. The fight started off with a bit of a bang, let's say, as Axioms decided, or Atin decided he was going to loose a couple arrows and make his move away from the charging golden opponent. However, a slight miscalculation led to a quick and decisive smiting into the sand by our own Paladin of Glory.
A 5-foot mistake cost him his life.
5-foot mistake cost you your life. It was a pretty amazing fight, though brief. And was well enjoyed. However, during those events, while you were busy making a name for yourself and making a scene, for all to witness. It had just so happened that your former master, the former slave keeper, Master Ikesh, who trained you, Stanislav, in his very own ludus, happened to be in attendance watching from the Pulvinus, the seat of honor, and seemingly quite quickly came to the realization that you were his escaped property, or seemingly had thought lost at one point. Now returned to stand in the sands, claiming glory for not for his own ludus, but for his own shiny self.
Whoops.
Either way, collecting your prize money before any further conflict ensued, you made your way back to the Dune Rest Inn, where you managed to lock down a fairly impressive suite located in the basement of the establishment, the coolest and most regulated temperature area. That was quite immaculately decorated compared to the rest of the tavern. However, looking to spend a little of his riches and possibly celebrate his victory, Stanislav decided to take a step away from the quiet and make his way upstairs, where a new entertainer had just taken the stage, Tiny Red Barrow, the massive half-Goliath dragonborn, sitting there gently strumming his lute, just playing his songs and singing about great deeds, or at least what you could figure was something quite heroic based on the language, even though you don't necessarily speak Draconic. Let's fucking go, dude. Yeah, you got...
Certainly was about me.
Yeah, it was certainly about some kind of heroic deed of some kind. So, deciding to sit down and take a drink by the fire, you spent a good chunk of the evening, a couple hours, talking with guests or tavern patrons, drinking, celebrating your recent victory in the arena, though remaining slightly sober due to the warning that Atin had given you while returning to this establishment that maybe you were drawing a little too much attention. However, not long into your drink, couple hours, mysterious figure sat down at a table across from you, hooded, with just a pair of horns poking through the top of the hood, and quickly made an introduction, removing his hood, revealing himself to be Stanislav's long-lost brother, Ilsevir, a traveling monk with whom he had traveled many years upon the Ember Sands, or the Ember Steppe, and then lost and captured into slavery. Seemingly had been looking for you since your separation, and needless to say, you left a pretty easy-to-follow trail once you returned to the mainland. He tracked you down and made his way to Lysia, and while sitting, he warned that you may have drawn a little too much attention to yourself, and consequences were soon to follow. And follow they did, as from outside you heard a single voice calling, "Stanislav the Shiny!" Entering the tavern, you saw a man clad in what normally would look like Imperium garb. Slightly different, a little more practical, less flashy. The only signal of or symbol of his station in the Magus Imperium sigil, but surrounded by a foiled whip. This was an Imperium slave hunter captain, who quickly made an announcement to the bar that any who were not escaped slaves should probably make their exit before things got messy. Promptly sat down with you at your table and enjoyed a pint for himself. At which point, he told you that your former, or your compatriot, not former compatriot, Toren had already been recaptured, taken back into chains, where he would await the judgment of his master for fleeing those chains in the first place. He offered you an ultimatum. Come with him peacefully, return to your life of servitude, or be dragged there, unwillingly. This wasn't much of a deal for Stanislav, as he flipped the table towards this individual and made a break for the window, where he encountered, let's just say, the group's muscle in the form of a great minotaur, also bound in chains, similarly to you, how you might have been at one point, and quickly caught the brunt of his assault. A fight ensued, Atin getting involved, also making a break for the safety of the street outside along with your brother, and you all made a daring dash towards the gate, though hindered a time or two. Managed to make your way safely through it as it closed behind you. The only injury suffered would be that of Ilsevir, who was not only knocked unconscious, but is seemingly unresponsive to any kind of healing, and Stanislav's foot being crushed in the closing gate behind him. So you're kind of
hurts like bitch.
You're kind of dealing with like a Harry Potter arm situation right now. Like it's just crushed bone at this point. It's a very heavy gate. There's no safety on it. Anyway, at that point, Ilsevere, using the last bit of energy he has left within himself, loosed a flare into the sky, and, well, your saviors rode over the sand dunes. The number of empty horses to carry you and your compatriots to safety. Seemingly one extra for Toren, who never made the exit. As you were riding away, a final spell was loosed from the walls of Lysia, knocking 2 riders from their horses, and knocking Ilsevere unconscious, where he remains. And that's where we'll pick up this session. As the group of you are riding out of Lysia, I don't know if you can see my cursor on stream, but you're riding out of Lysia and kind of looping northwards, kind of along this cliff face here, northward, towards that where it says Incendis Mountains. At full tilt on horseback, Stanislav, you look over and just see your brother just face down on his horse, kind of just being bucked along, still in his saddle, seemingly only by the fact that his feet were in the stirrups, and just bouncing along, his horse keeping him steady.
How far away from the wall are we at this point?
You would have just taken off, but riding full tilt, you essentially managed to get over a crest of a sand dune and keep that valley between you and the wall, so they're not able to have visual line, but you're still fairly close.
I'm just gonna kind of yell, somebody needs to help him. I can't do anything right now.
You see the leader of this pack, not quite hooded. It's kind of like a head wrap, almost a turban that turns into an entire cloak. His face covered, protected from the elements. He turns and he says, "There's no time now. You'll be all right."
Fuck. Okay. Just gonna
And
keep riding.
one of the other riders grabs the bridle or whatever, the horse, and make sure
reins.
it's the reins and make sure it's led straight, and continued along. But they're riding full tilt. I know both of you are fairly proficient at riding, so I'm not going to have you roll checks at this point. But how far would you like to go? Are you following the lead of this person, or what would you like to do?
Yes.
Just
I
full
mean,
tilt?
yeah, this is the best solution at the moment. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in a bit of shock right now. I'm just riding, following.
You're all riding, making your way northward through the sand dunes. And as you're doing so, you do see like volleys of arrows being loosed from Lysia, but like the way you position behind the sand dune is kind of stopping the bulk of them from hitting you. Occasionally someone does have to put a shield up and block an incoming arrow, but for the most part you seem to be getting out of their range of effectiveness. Though you know the gates will be reopened soon and there will probably be a party on their way to follow you.
So I'm gonna position myself so that I'm like right behind the horse that Ilsevere's on, so that if an arrow comes, it hits me and not him.
Okay. Sounds good. As you're riding northward, going full tilt, the horses at this point are beginning to tire. The sun has begun to go down. Like you were drinking a little bit into the evening. Sunset has just about finished. There's just that faint glow of orange left on the western horizon as you make your way. And as darkness begins to fall, you begin to feel a little safer. The horses begin to slow. The riders begin to pick their paths a little more carefully, as the Ember Step is not a particularly safe place at the best of times. Nighttime even more so, more often than not.
I have since learned that.
Yeah, that will happen, dude. That will happen indeed. I think everyone can hear the audio in chat. I hope so. Either way, so you continue to make your way northward. And as you're doing so, the leader begins to slow, and eventually they find this little alcove kind of along the cliff face here. Probably like you would have ridden a couple hours at this point to get to there. And they essentially pull the horses in, and it's more or less like an open cavern that's kind of tucked into the sides of the thing, and they pull in. And as they do so, you watch one of the members just kind of like go and like scout out the entrance. He's going to make a quick perception check. Yoink. Looks all good. I don't think they know where we're at. I don't think they followed us. And he kind of just like, I'll take first watch. And he kind of just sits down against the mouth of the cave while they pull Ilsevere off the horse and lay him down on the ground and begin examining his wounds. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Closely watch that.
There's not much they can do. These aren't overly magical individuals. And you know yourself that the healing spells you tried to use had no effect.
Does he look stable?
Yes, he's breathing, but he is unconscious.
Okay, but it doesn't look like AK's not making death saves.
No, he's okay. He is just unconscious and is currently unable to gain any hit points.
I'm just gonna talk to the leader. I can help him in the morning, but I need to sleep. I need to sleep.
Yeah, we've seen wounds like this before. He needs rest. It's the only answer.
All right.
And he's going to be suffering for a few days.
As am I. Fuck. And I'm like limping along on the one leg.
Do you need us to look at that for you?
I can just fucking. I'll fix it in the morning. Just let me sleep.
All right. Well, we might need you to take watch at one point. We'll wake you up if we do.
I've got it.
You've got it? Hey, at this point, he looks you over. Like, more closely than he would have had the chance to. Stanislav, like, I mean, yeah, shiny golden tiefling. There's definitely, like, a few of the members are looking at you, but they've also traveled with Ilsevere for a while, you gather, based on the level of
Ilsevere and
trust
I
he
have
has.
the same eyes.
Very
Exactly the
similar.
same shiny
Yep.
golden eyes. That's
He just has the dark purple skin.
Yep.
But when they take notice of Atin standing, currently wearing, actually weren't wearing armor, if I recall, right? Oh no, it's just damaged in the fight. So essentially, yeah, you're wearing your halberd or whatever, and there's like the large cleave or two cleaves down the center where you were almost like essentially cleaved in twixt.
Speaking of, I'm gonna dip, like push my finger in there, try to get some of the blood that I inevitably have on my fingers, and the mark that I wear on my armor. I'm gonna cover the emblem.
Okay. Are you trying to do this before they notice it?
Not necessarily. It's more a matter of like, well, I guess I'm on the run now, and I can't really. They can't afford to have me associated with them, so like they can see it, but I'm still going to cover it for future interaction.
The leader does take a minute to look at you. And what is it you're doing exactly? Traveling with two escaped slaves? I thought your kind were Imperium bootlickers.
Well, the Imperium pays the best. As far as traveling with slaves, honestly didn't know. I just knew that they were efficient. And that was all that mattered. I should be a little more careful with my wording, perhaps, but effectively.
You are aware that traveling with escaped property puts your head on the block as well. There's only one thing the Imperium hates more than an escaped slave. That's the people who help them.
Like I said, didn't know. They never told me. And
he looks over at Stanislav, who at this point I'm guessing is pretty close to sleep. Well, that's on them.
He's like sitting on the ground against the wall of the cave, just like his head down. His eyes are open, but
even if he was a slave, he doesn't have enough memory to tell me who he belonged to. Frankly, I don't think he remembered. All he cared about was glory. It was actually a really fun trigger word. You could just, look over there, a bird, glory, and he'd attack it. It was very helpful.
From what we've heard,
Kish.
Yeah, catch the bird, killed it. Just terrible.
Kish. Is that
based on what his brother has told us, it's not far from the mark.
Mm-hmm.
Get some rest. We'll call you when your watch is up.
Understood.
He just looks at his men. No fire tonight, boys. And you all tuck in for a frigid night in the expanse of the Umber Steppe. So, I need you both
I would
to
imagine I don't have some stuff. Right?
That's up to you. What did you take? What did you leave behind?
I would actually... I never even had a backpack.
Nope. No one ever. You had like a coin purse and a little leather satchel, if I remember.
I did. You did give me your coin and what's his face's coin, so we still have all of that.
Okay,
you
good.
Still have all the money.
Yeah.
I was wearing my fine clothes at the time, so I don't have my traveler's clothes. Those are gone.
Yeah. You're wearing fancy clothes.
I didn't have my rations on me. They would have been in some sort of satchel. So those are gone. And I don't think I would have had my water skin on me. All three of my water skins, I think, are gone.
I might have one on me, maybe, but
roll.
We kind of ran out of there.
Do me a favor and roll me a d4. If it's a 4, roll again.
Okay. It's 1.
It was a 1?
Yes.
You did manage to keep one water skin, which you would have kept on your person.
It would, yeah, okay, it would have been tied to my belt. Yeah.
Essentially. The way I'm picturing it, you're in your fancy clothes, but you still had your belt on and everything that has like your coin purse and your water skin attached to it. So
well, my coin purse is separately attached.
While you're sleeping without a fire, I need you both to roll me a Constitution saving throw, just to see how well you can sleep through the frigid cold of the nighttime desert. Good enough.
13.
Also good enough. You guys were 1 away from failing.
Was that the DC?
No, it's 12, so you're 2 away from failing.
Okay.
But as you try to tuck in for a restful night of sleep, it's cold. You're sitting there against the cave walls, kind of shivering. Stanislav, you do not have a great night of sleep, keeping an eye on your brother, and kind of ruminating over the consequences of your brash intention for glory.
Brash is in a different campaign, bud.
Not anymore. Fuck that campaign. Anyway.
Imagine dragons.
Yeah.
Just
imagine.
Just imagine them.
Anyway.
Jesus. All right. So you tuck in. You do manage to get a full night's rest. So you can both go ahead and hit that long rest button. I'm going to go ahead and do the same for Ilsevere. Means he gets all his key points back. And he's back at full HP because sleeping makes you not die anymore. It's fine.
So what's going to be the penalty of my foot? Because I'm back to full HP, but obviously that's like a different thing.
Yeah, that's going to take like some binding. Like you wake up in the morning and it feels like you're going to need to like bind that, splint it. Casts aren't really a thing at this point. It's going to take some time over the next course of the next few days, at least, pumping healing magic into that thing to get it back up to functional.
Okay.
Yeah. While you're
do I have a sense of like how many how many healing spells or how many like points of lay on hands I'm going to have to
not
put
exactly.
in over those
it's going to
days?
be more like over the course of a few days to a week, doing healing checks, aiding those with magic will essentially give you advantage on them. But for the time being, I'm going to say your speed is reduced by 10.
Okay.
As you are walking with a pretty fucking busted foot.
All right.
You rolled like a 3 on that fucking check. So.
First thing I'm going to do is go and make sure brother is okay in the morning.
Yeah, you go over to Ilsevere. He is still asleep. But like some of the wounds you notice at this point have begun to close up. It seems like he was up early and maybe doing some work on himself. The other members of the group that you're with spend some time bandaging him, making sure he's okay. They do know how to deal with these wounds. These are people who go to like toe to toe with Imperium soldiers and slave hunters on the regular.
Good,
so these are things they're used to. But he is still resting effectively, but he is no longer on death's door, and he does seem to have recovered a fair amount. Though the wounds are still like the ones where the whips hit are still not quite open, and there's almost like a little bit of a black corruption forming around them that seems to be receding now. But that seems to be kind of the curse or whatever it was. The magical property of the weapon had begun to infect and spread, but it has been remedied at this point. Is there anything you'd like to do to start your mornings?
I'm going to take 10 minutes to summon Find Steed, or to cast Find Steed.
Yep.
Because I am all kinds of fucked up.
Yeah, you're not looking so hot.
However, I don't know if I'm going to summon a camel this time.
Is Bathier not going to be a camel? It's going to be a wolf. It's going to be a dire wolf. I can feel it.
No, it has to be a certain type.
I think
there's
dire
like
wolf
a
is on the
list.
list. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. But
I mean, here's the thing: dire wolves are actually terrible steeds by comparison, but they're fun. So yeah.
Wasn't I allowing you to like use the stat block of a war horse, but essentially it's a war camel?
No, I was using the stat block of a camel. He never died.
Okay, well, visually, if you want him to still be a camel, I'll allow you to use the stat block for a war horse because it's a war camel.
I'm not going to summon a camel this time.
What you gonna do?
I am going to summon a large golden war horse.
Okay, so you spend 10 minutes or 11 minutes sitting there casting, going through your rituals, and essentially channeling your powers of godly awesomeness, of near demigod like awesomeness. And before you appears this bright golden, massive warhorse. clad in shining golden armor. It's almost like ethereal, kind of matching the horse itself. What's this one's name?
Undecided yet.
Just Bathir. Bathir just it's the same. It's every horse.
Hold on. I'll let you know in a minute what's name is.
Okay. I don't have any notebooks now because they're all packed. So if you name it something important, write it down. So as the morning's going on, the leader now has kind of begun addressing his troops. He's like, I want you to move eastward across the Ember Steppe. Try to keep an eye out for anyone following us while we continue our way northward. We need to inform the leader that well, things haven't quite gone as planned.
All right.
Do you know where Toren is going? We have our agents in the city, but we have no information yet. Do you know where he might be taken to?
I don't know, do I?
Because they weren't there for the conversation with the slave hunter captain. He did mention that he had returned to his former master.
Oh yeah. He was recaptured. He's going to be put back to his old life and with his old shit master.
So back in Tursa then.
Sounds like it.
That may prove beneficial. In the meantime, let's just say that stretch of road is quite hazardous.
All right.
In the meantime, we will continue northward. We'll show you our camp, and you'll be granted refuge there until we can formulate a plan. It's a couple days' ride. I trust neither of you mind traveling across the desert.
No,
you look like you'll be fine.
You know, if we're going along, there's a road between here and what is that place called? Between Lycia and Emberwatch that I would really suggest we avoid.
That's to the south. We're going north.
Right. Okay. Never mind. We're good.
And where we're going, we don't need roads. Hey, I got to work that in. That made me happy. Anyway.
I love you and hate you at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's anything you would like to do before we set out, anything you'd like to say to your brother, he seems to be waking now. Now would be the only chance. We do not stop for rest. It'll be 2 days hard ride. With Imperium scouts on our trail, we have no choice.
That's fine.
That was not how things were supposed to go down. I blame you for that, he says to Elsevier. He's like, yes, of course you do, I know. Keep it to yourself. Asshole. And the guy just smiles back at him. There's like, right off the top, there's definitely some like bromance, dude bro, like bonding happen here. These guys are pretty tight. You gather they've been together for some time now. Been together.
It's the obvious for brothers, so I'm gonna go sit down next to him.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, whatever mystical figure there is. Are you alright, brother? You took as many hits as I did, if not more.
Well, I mean, I got my foot caught in the door. That kind of sucked. But other than that, I'm alright.
He just kind of like, well, perhaps I can help with it. And he's going to make a medicine check. And try to like, splint it up. Ooh, that's bad.
Can I was gonna ask if I can help him.
Sure.
In some way.
How do you help him? I'll give him advantage. How are you gonna help?
I'm gonna tell him exactly where it hurts. Like
it hurts there, brother. Okay. All right.
I don't know.
you kind of get in the way. Like he's trying and you're putting your hand. He's like, seriously, I know what I'm doing. Just
and I'm like poking my own foot and I'm like, ow.
Just
ow,
stop it. I said stop it. Why are you doing this?
Okay, sorry.
It's stupid. Why you do it? And then he ties the splint just a little too tight. Like it's quite. Yeah, toughen up. You're the man. You can handle it. Gives you a smack on the arm. Now,
stronger than I remembered.
Well, I've had to fend for myself for quite some time. Until I met them, at least.
I look around. Yeah, I was gonna say the minute he says I was on my own, I'm like, I look around at the war band real quick.
Right. They are new.
I'm glad that you found compatriots that you can trust.
Hey, while I'm looking around, are these guys wearing any emblems?
Oh yeah, one sec. Actually, I'm pretty sure I have a sigil for them.
A sigil.
A sigil. A sigil. No, I do not. Actually, did not design a sigil for them. So, improv time. Yes, they are. Quite plainly, it's less of a sigil. It's more of the way they wear their armor. It's very uniform, kind of similar to how your tribe does, where they all have like the turban / head wrap and cloak are all the same color. The armor is a kind of a lightish tan brown, usually leather. There's some like studded leather bits on there as well. Roll me a history check just for the region.
All right, history. I can't remember how bad I am at those, but I'm sure it can't be terrible. There we go. It's a 2. Oh!
Yeah, you don't really recognize them. You do know,
Okay.
based on the brazenness of their attack, that this is definitely one of the groups who stand opposed to the Magus Imperium. There are a number of them. You're not sure which one this is. But they do have a very set uniformity to their look and the way they carry themselves that reminds you a little bit of your own tribe. I'll give you that much.
I'll take it.
Brother, is there... strange question. Is there anyone amongst your group here who's able to identify magical objects? I acquired this sword. I'm going to pull it out. And I know it's not just a normal sword because it doesn't break or chip or dent or anything. Trust me, I've put it through some shit, including that armor. Sorry about that, Atin. I'll get you some new armor, I promise.
I just shrug. We'll deal with it later.
I want to figure out what it does, because it's really fucking good.
I'll be honest with you, not in this group.
Yeah, that's all right.
Mostly the fighters here, the rangers. But
I appreciate that.
where we are going, I believe there is someone who can help you.
All right.
Hang on to it. May I see it for a moment?
Sure. Pass it over to him.
Roll me a wisdom save, please.
I'm really good at these.
Please roll a 1.
I didn't roll very good, but
I might need to pull up this item real quick.
you didn't put a curse description on it other than
because I didn't want you to see it. I had notes somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool.
I believe you made it, but I just want to make sure I'm not.
Yeah, because that's close to what the threshold would be, I would guess.
Yeah, it's a 12. I made it a 12 because it's a pretty basic cursed weapon. So as you're going to hand it to him, there's this nagging sensation in the back of your head that's almost screaming like, don't do it. Do not give up this blade. Part of it is bound to you and you to it. You do not want to relinquish it. But at the same time, this is your brother. This is a man that you trust. Even if you don't necessarily remember every detail about how he is your brother and how you two got separated, you do recognize the family. And you let go of the sword. And as you do, the sensation stops, but there is definitely something trying to prevent you from giving it to him. And he just examines it, just flips it over in his hands, examines the blade, runs his finger along it, just enough that there's a small cut.
It's well balanced.
The blood doesn't seem to absorb into the blade or anything, which is good. And he kind of just like spins it around, tests it a couple times, and flips it back to you and hands it to you, hilt first. It's a fine weapon. I would be careful. There's something a little dark about that.
I feel that too. That's why I'm curious about it. But I mean, I can kill almost anything I look at with it.
Well, I mean, you could always do that. This sword does not make the warrior, brother.
It's very true.
The warrior makes the sword. More accurately, the smith makes the sword. But you know what I mean.
Punch him on the shoulder.
Anyway,
not very hard.
I'm about ready to head out if you are. He looks up to the leader.
I look over to Atin as well.
Yes. Linax, have your men prepare. It is time for us to go. And he begins like standing very slowly. You could tell there's like a soreness in his chest, in his body, where he's taken these wounds and the pure life force it sucked out of him to do so. But he does manage to stand himself up and go to his horse. Same when he was riding earlier. Gives it a pet. What are you doing? He's very gentle, very, very calming, very soothing to the horse. And the horse seems responsive and kind of gives him like a little nuzzle. Pats him on the head and hops up and begins to make his way for the exit, or leads it to the exit of the cave and begins to mount up. Would you all like to follow suit?
Yes. absolutely.
Yeah,
So I'm
probably.
just trying to
Probably
find
good
the
idea.
notes. My master's name is Ikesh, right?
Ikesh, yeah. Ikesh.
Yeah. Okay.
He has a ludus in Tursa.
Everybody, I would like you to meet my horse, Ikesh.
Oh, we're not calling it Beethair anymore.
That is the camel. He's in Feywild or wherever he likes to hang out. Yes, we'll see. Who knows?
Isn't
This is Ikesh.
that the name of the man who bought you?
You see, he thought that he owned me, but now I own him.
I like it.
Sure. You know what? Let's go with it. Just.
I found with Stanislav, it's best not to question things.
I mean, yeah, let's just go.
They all mount up and they begin to make their way back out into the Ember Steppe. I need one of you, doesn't matter who, roll me a percentile, please.
Okay. I'm definitely lucky with percentile.
This is the weather percentile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you're good. Pretty standard day on the Ember Steppe. Light wind, hot sun, the occasional twinge of a grain of sand whipping against your face a little harder than you would like, but nothing stands out as irregular weather. It is hot, it is dry, and it is going to be a long day.
It's so nice out.
At least it's not. Yeah, you notice Ilsevere too is like quite comfy. He's just chilling.
I still have like my goggles and face wrap on, but
yeah, no, they're all bundled up at this point. Come now, we should move quickly. And the leader, whose name you would now know as Linax, because your brother called it out, begins to go into more of a gallop, and he kind of weaves through like the dips between the sand dunes once again, making sure that like anyone who might be looking from afar from either distance isn't going to see you guys doing that. You are leaving a rather large trail behind you with this many horses traveling through the sand.
Sandstorm.
Yep,
that's all.
Question: are they on war horses or normal horses? Like just by
these would be like they're not. They're more dexterous than war horses. They're a little bit more lithe, a little more geared towards long distance, fast paced travel, as opposed to like the war horse, which is more geared towards like a heavy sprint and charge. And going to need some rest.
War horse's speed is 60. I think a normal horse is 50.
These ones are these are steppe horses.
Oh, okay. So
these are like literally specially bred by the people here, so they're probably closer to 65. I haven't stat blocked them all out yet, but they're quite fast. These are like very quick little horses.
Since I'm on one of the slower ones, then I guess I'm gonna hang near the back and just use thaumaturgy to have wind constantly like blowing back and forth behind us to make the tracks disappear.
Your brother just looks back kind of quizzically. Did you get smarter, brother?
I think I just got a little bit more awesome, you know?
Nice to know some things never change. He just keeps riding. How's the foot?
Feels all right.
I tap it.
Ah! You fucking asshole.
I just wanted to make sure that your knee was like, responding to stimuli properly. I'd say you're fine.
I like this one. He's funny. Keeps just riding, and like you can tell it's wearing on him. The hard travel, the quick travel, like his wounds are still healing. He's in a lot of pain. Stanislav, you are too. Like you essentially got one foot in a stirrup and the other one just hanging limply at the side, trying to ride along with this crew.
I know it won't like heal HP, but I'm just gonna like put 5 points into each of us of lay on hands just for some like pain relief.
Yep. Yeah. So that helps.
Yeah.
You notice as you do it, he kind of perks up. Oh. This is very helpful. You've learned a new trick or two, I see.
Several. I mean, I can literally make warhorse out of like magical thin air.
That is a new one. I like it.
It's pretty crazy what I've learned to do on my adventures.
The convenient thing is it smells not like camel shit.
It smells like horse shit this time.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know there's a big difference between camel and horse.
Well,
shit smells like shit.
Here's the thing: it doesn't smell like camel shit, and then what he says is horse shit. So there's less shit. No, I'm kidding.
Actually, I mean,
none of Stanislav, there's no shortage of shit, my friend.
Except that this bad boy here actually doesn't need the shit because he's a celestial being. And
Angels don't poop.
exactly.
No, of course not. It's not very ladylike.
And you, my not so silent friend, a little more talkative this morning. What's your deal? How did you end up with my idiot brother here?
Was tracking for a job. Found the targets all missing their heads. And he came back into the Ember Watch with a cart with like what was it? 10 heads or something, all just
There's a bunch of
on-
heads.
a whole bunch of heads on a cart. claiming victory. Very excited.
Yes, we showed up not long after you guys left. We heard quite the hubbub about the missions you did there. Again, subtlety is not your thing, brother.
I mean, look to me, it never really has been. I should probably work on it though a little bit because I mean that shit sucked.
I'm going
not
to
gonna-
be. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm not going to lie, Stanislav. I would prefer you just do what you do well. Just do that.
And as we're riding, there's like shishink of the chainmail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
I mean, he's not wrong. You're one of the most capable men I've ever seen fight, but there's a price on your head that will make all kinds of people come looking for you. Perhaps it is time you quiet things down a little bit.
I think that might be a good idea.
Me as well.
Perhaps a bit.
So just looking for a mercenary crew of your own then, eh? He's looking at Atin.
Yeah. For the moment, I suppose that would be the. For the moment, I think that is appropriate.
It's not every day we see one of the Kiram go off on their own.
It's not every day one of the Kiram go off on their own.
Fair enough. I'd like you to know something.
You may certainly inform me.
Well, recently, myself and the members here that you see traveling with us claim membership of a tribe called the Hashrut. Your friend Toren, the member. These are his people. And I'll be honest with you, where we're going, you're not going to get a lot of friendly looks.
I didn't come to make friends.
You should be aware that your people have been, let's say, upholding their end of the bargain with the Imperium a little more than is necessary. There was a time where you sent your men, they served, and that was the end of it. But it seems your people have become more closely aligned than we would like, and conflict has begun.
That sounds like a conversation I'd have to have with Buer. Not particularly interested in that right now.
I'm just saying, mind your manners. Do not cause any trouble. And no trouble will be caused for you. You're here
Understood.
under my protection. I am a member of this tribe as well.
I will take the blade, the spindle blade, basically, that I keep on my arm, flick it out, hand it to him. Consider that insurance.
He flips it, twists it, and like it almost does the same move you do, and then expands on it, kind of showing off a bit. Hands it back to you, hilt first. You have my brother's trust. That is all I need to trust you. Just know that if these people need to choose between protecting their own and protecting mine, they will choose themselves.
As I'd expect.
And you may want to get in touch with your people. Find out where your allegiances lie.
Oh, that one's easy. I don't need to get in touch with my people for that.
Suppose the fact you're traveling out on your own speaks volumes.
Close enough.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Interesting compatriots you found for yourself, brother.
I mean, shit, you should meet the other two guys that I traveled with. One of them is buried under a dragon skull, which is pretty cool.
Is that the one it cost you to like get all the other heads?
Yes, actually. His name was Baythier, and named my camel after him.
That sounds
Um,
like something you would do. I'm sure he appreciates that very much from the afterlife.
Fuck you.
And as we're riding, I'm gonna like roll the sleeve up to show him the snake that's animated on my arm. This was his parting gift to me.
It's nice. Mm,
You should have seen this thing in real life. It could actually fucking teleport me places. It was wild.
I've seen all kinds of magical things traveling after you these many years, my friend.
I can imagine.
It has not been an easy voyage.
Nor for me, brother.
What happened to you that night?
I chose not to follow you.
We could have escaped together.
Or we could be in chains together. That wasn't a chance I was willing to take.
I suppose I should thank you.
It is what it is, and well, shit, we're back together now. And
As he says that, he reaches over and smacks you up the back of the head.
can I
Lovingly.
try and dodge it?
Sure. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to roll him an attack, and
Okay.
you can. I don't really want him to like attack you per se. So you know what? How about we do opposing acrobatics checks,
Okay.
or you can try to athletics to just like
Yes.
stop it. Okay.
That.
He's going to roll his acrobatics. 8, 10. So
Oh
he
my
very,
God.
very haphazardly tries to smack you up the back of the head, and you stick a hand up and just like hit it with your like forearm, stopping it. Either way, my point is, if you go and get yourself captured again, I will not spend another 3 years looking for you.
If anybody tries to capture me, I'm either going to kill them or they're going to kill me. That's how it's going to happen.
I found it is best to do it that way around here.
I mean, those people without their heads could tell you, but they don't have their heads.
I have to say, I almost caught you in Tarsa. There was a plan, and then you got stuck on that boat. We
The
heard
first
it-
one or the second one?
Don't know about the. He's referring to the journey from Tursa, which would have been the start of the campaign. Like when you guys first got loaded on a
So,
boat together as a
second.
party. Yeah, the second boat. He doesn't know about the first boat. He has
Ah.
no idea what happened to you after you got taken right away.
I see. So
We heard it
I-
sank, and you were lost at sea. That was the last we heard of it. And then the attack on Tursa happened. Needless to say, it isn't exactly to go safe or safe to go back there.
wait,
Or-
attack on Tursa.
Wasn't safe for some time. I believe it's back under Imperium control. Yes. What, have you been living under a rock?
I mean, sort of. We were on this island called the Lost Island of Ropesh the Cruel.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, neither have a lot of people. But it was weird. You could like sail out away from the island, and you just always come back to the island. But we managed to find our way out through a portal of some kind or some shit. I don't even really remember that much about that. But
Interesting.
I mean,
No.
yeah, it was weird. I became the king of a goblin tribe.
That's quite the journey. You'll have to tell me about it sometime. To answer your
Yeah.
question, yes, Tursa was attacked. The pirates came from the sea with their boats. And I believe it was during a one of the grand tournaments, so they called them. They razed the city, nearly burnt it to the ground. And then they left. Seemingly had been not planning on setting down roots. But it has become clear now that people have begun to rise up. And we plan on doing the same.
Absolutely.
Well, it is your decision. Know that my friends here intend to rescue their compatriot. And I am one of them now. I am obliged to assist.
And I mean, I guess he's one of us as well. Looking at Atin. So we also he's one of our friends. We have to get him out of that place. He's gonna just be tortured.
Far worse, I'm afraid.
He's an efficient warrior. Be ashamed to lose him.
They'll put that to use in the arena. if they have the chance.
It would be a shame to let a man of such talents be wasted on aesthetics.
You're not wrong. Either
He's
way.
many things, but he's no arena champion.
I mean,
It's him doing far worse.
To be fair, the biggest reason why he's not an arena champion is because I pinned him to the wall and then let Lion, what's his face, kind of do his thing.
I mean, you have small point, but all right.
Sorry, we had thunder for a brief second there.
Thunder. Hear the
And
thunder.
this whole conversation is mean as we're riding.
Oh yeah, no, like
Yeah.
you guys are making good time.
Yeah, we're doing a walk and talk.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
of course.
And I'm
this
just
this
doing
is
this
going to be a
thaumaturgy
pretty
thing
heavy
still.
RP session. I don't have any real combats planned unless something random pops up, but
Works for me.
that's what's rolling's for. But like you gather as you're making this route, like the people leading this party are very accustomed to traveling in the Ember Steppe. They know the routes, they know the ways to use the sand dunes to block line of sight, and you just continue weaving your way through the desert. Stanislav covering your tracks. I must say, roll me a survival check with advantage.
Okay.
As you are actively using your thaumaturgy to create gusts of wind to try to use sand to block your, or at least the deepest evidence of your passage.
16.
Yeah, that's acceptable. So you do notice the tracks are covered, like covering themselves up with as you like make these gusts of wind kind of fill in the holes. They are still present. They're not completely gone, but you gather with the way the Ember Steppe is constantly having the winds scour across it that they'll probably be covered or at least camouflaged in.
They look
within
far
the day or
less
so.
like horse tracks at this point, hopefully.
They look like far less recent horse tracks.
Yeah, good.
I would say.
Good job.
The ground here is getting rockier, like it's less sand at this point, it's more gravel, and like as you're getting close to the mountains, because you're effectively kind of riding just eastward of that ridge, making your way north. And you continue making your way, fairly uneventful. And every time you're about to cross a sand dune, you notice the leader of the party kind of pop up, or like one of the other members will ride forward, scout it out, do a hand signal, reveal that it's all clear, and the group will kind of move. It's almost staggered at times where they stop once they can like ensure that they're not going to be in line of sight of anything. This is going to be about 2 days of travel. So you've already made, I'm going to say you've made it through the first day at this point. And as the sun once again begins to go down in the sky, they do not stop for a rest. They are riding through the night. It's a hard ride. It's a long ride, and they're trying to maximize time. You even notice a couple of them falling asleep on their mounts and just trusting the steed to follow in the pack. And they actually begin sleeping in shifts, catching little bits of shut-eye where they can. It's not easy. This is not something you two would be accustomed to,
No,
sleeping
sure.
on horseback. So, unless you want to raise a fuss about it, I need constitution saves to see how well you manage the night's travel and if exhaustion is beginning to set in yet. Go ahead. Both of you roll.
No,
Nice.
okay. Microsoft Edge instead.
You.
Just kidding.
Oof. Okay.
Thanks.
Atin, you're fine. You've done long marches. This is something you're very, very accustomed to. Not necessarily on horseback, but marching for days at a time with minimal breaks.
Yeah.
It's something you've been trained to do. That's drilled into you from childhood. Very brutal training regimen. Stanislav, you're not. You're like, much like the warhorse you're on, you're not a long distance traveler. You're more of like a short bursts of energy followed by periods of rest. Even when you were training as a gladiator, it would be days of training, nights of sleep, repeat.
Mm-hmm.
You are not used to long periods of travel, so you begin to feel exhausted as the tiredness begins to set in, the weariness from the long periods of travel. And you travel right through the night until the sun comes up. I already had your roll con save, so I'm not going to have you do it for the cold too, because that would just be mean. And the regular movement is kind of helping at this point. You notice as it gets colder, though, they pass out a few extra cloaks that they carry on their horsebacks to kind of help keep everyone warm and safe from the elements. The following morning, the crew is still continuing. Some of them appear rested, like they managed to get a good chunk of rest in on horseback. Your brother, I'm gonna roll for him too, actually. Constitution save +0. He's good.
19,
He's
though.
fine. Yeah, he's good. Like you can tell he's been traveling with these folks for a while now.
4.
Yeah, like he's been a part of this group for a minute, so he's probably used to this at this point. He's just making his way, riding along. As the day
Making his way.
continues, I need someone to roll me the weather for the day. So Chris, go ahead and roll me a percentile this time. Please be something awesome.
43.
Ooh, okay. So, as you're riding, the winds begin to pick up. Not quite at sandstorm level, but it's a little too much wind.
I don't know why
But
the roll didn't go through to everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Shit happens. It's definitely getting windier. Like the climate has begun to change. The sand now, you see trails of it whipping off the top of sand dunes. You see small pebbles being blown in the wind. You're probably fairly comfortable in knowing that your tracks have probably disappeared by now throughout the night. And as it's got windier, like you guys are probably all set. A skilled tracker may still be able to follow you, but I guess we'll see. Based on their rolls privately. In the meantime, I mean, I'll roll it right now if you want me to. I was going to give you guys a couple days, but you're going to give me stink eye. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean? I wasn't giving you stink eye.
Either way, they rolled a 4. You're fairly comfortable that your tracks are covered. They continue their way northward, and as they kind of reach this crest in the mountains right here, where they kind of fade out to be opaque for the Incendis Mountains part, or not opaque, you know what I mean? There's essentially a small canyon that begins to funnel in, and it's quite thin. Like you can ride one man on horseback through here. It's almost like a crevice, slightly larger, and they begin to go single file. 2 of the kind of ranking members take the lead, followed by the leader of the group in third, and then it just files down the other 6 people, I think it is, or 5 people, until Ilsevere, yourself, and Atin are kind of taking up the rear with one final. The scout who cleared the way rides in to meet you at the end and is taking up the rear. And as you're following these people, they're taking, as there's like different branches in the caverns or the canyon, they're going right and then left and weaving through this pass. If any of you are interested, roll me an intelligence check to see if you can remember this route for later, if you ever need to, or if you ever want to. This is something you guys can do.
You said an intelligence check?
Not?
Yep. Or wisdom
It's gonna come-
survival, I'd say.
Or survival? Okay, well, I actually have +5 to survival, so.
Okay, I'll use the 19. Okay. Atin, you fairly certainly could remember this passage and the way you're taking on this road. Stanislav, not so much. You're pretty well lost. If it weren't for the train of horses in front of you and the ever-pervasive smell of horse manure and the fact that many of these people have not showered in some time,
And my brain is still like rattled.
Yeah,
from the
you're
recent
pretty
events.
messed up from all of that. So you make your way with them, following through these crevices until you eventually begin to see them widen out. And after maybe a good 5 hours of weaving through these various canyons and caverns and everything, I gotta drag you guys over here.
While we're doing like going through these canyons, I'm just gonna mentally tell Ikesh, just follow the horse ahead of you and be careful. I need to look at my foot.
Okay.
And do medicine check on my foot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
If you're gonna use some magic to help with it, you can roll with advantage.
Not this time.
Okay.
I feel like I might need all I can get.
Just a straight medicine check then.
That's 13.
You managed to, like, again, redo the splint on it that your brother did, get it set a little more firmly. You can feel things beginning to heal. It is still extremely sore, and you have not improved your ability to move quickly yet. That
That's
being
fair.
said,
Oh, actually, I really should have rolled that at disadvantage because I'm exhausted.
so it would have just been the 8.
What 8?
Your first roll was a 8.
No, that was
Oh,
a
that's
survival to
survival.
remember the route.
Oh, yeah.
So here.
Yep.
So
12.
not much different.
Nope. Still same result, fortunately for you. However, as you approach, you're coming from the south, so you're coming up this little path here that I'm pinging for you. And you approach what appears to be a kind of a fairly rickety wooden bridge with a single archer standing atop it. And as the leader's going through, he looks down at the tribe, and you notice the leader of the group raise his hand, spin it around, and pull it down. Some kind of secret hand signal. Not all that complicated, but enough to get the message across and let them know that these are friendlies. And you ride in, passing these barriers that are essentially made from sharpened wooden stakes and have various animal bones and sharp objects just jutting out of them at this point. And you kind of have to weave through. There are 2 spearsmen guarding the entrance as well, both clad in similar garb to what you're wearing, though a little more relaxed here at home. Not so much traveling gear, just the armor, a spear, and a shield. And you're led through those gates and into the center of what appears to be a fairly large encampment, complete with a large cavern at the back of it, which is also guarded by 2 slightly more ornately armored individuals, perhaps higher ranking within the tribe. There's a staircase on the western side leading up to a raised area where there appears to be a bench and a large bonfire, and some slightly larger tents, depicting maybe this is where leadership is resting, or at least some of the leadership. There's quite a hustle and bustle of more than just soldiers here, while that does appear to be the bulk of it in this area. There's a few citizens. There's a cooking tent there. You can see just a plume of smoke coming out of the top, and you can smell just wonderful cooking meats. What sounds maybe some kind of stew.
I'm fucking starving. Oh my god.
Let us get a bite then, my friend.
Yes, excellent.
And he dismounts his horse, leaving it. There's like a drinking trough over here I didn't put in. And they all dismount their horses. As they're doing that, you're kind of walking over to grab a snipe to eat, or a bite to eat. Lynax comes up and taps Atin on the back. What do you say you and I have a chat with the boss man while your friend reacquaints himself with his brother?
Sure.
Come with me.
Yeah.
Elsevier looks at him and kind of just gives him a look. He said, I'll be nice, don't worry.
It's irrelevant.
He leads you up the stairs, which you now see on either side of the staircase is a very old, extremely weathered statue, partially buried in the sand. Far older than any other thing in this encampment. This does appear to be a ruin of some kind that they have seemingly set up shop in. Based on your knowledge of the area, you would gather this is probably a ruin left by the Undara people.
Okay.
Based on what you've discovered and your conversations with Ziggy about the archaeological excavations going on, you do know this place is dotted with a large number of ruins. This appears to be one of the more hidden ones.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Did you know there was a culture one time who inhabited a set of ruins, forgot that their ancestors had made it, and then convinced themselves it was a portal to another world?
No.
Yeah, it was kind of fucked up. Anyway, let's go.
Don't know what that was a reference to.
Celtics, fairy circles.
Oh, yeah, fairy circles. There you go. Either way, I had no idea. He leads you up the stairs, and there's a single guard there standing with a shield out and a sword, kind of a scimitar, kind of a curved blade, almost like a khopesh almost, just scabbarded at his side, just hanging there. And as Lynax approaches, he says, we're just here to see the big man. And the guy kind of looks at you, notices the armor, and while you did put blood over the sigil, it's still
it's
a fairly...
it's not a proper cover.
It's still a fairly iconic armor set, too.
Yep.
Like, they've had issues with your people at this point.
Absolutely.
What's he doing here? Did I ask you to ask questions, or did I tell you to let me through so I could speak to the boss? Jumped up little upstart. He's always causing problems, that one. Give a man a little bit of power, watch a strike go straight to his head, right?
Well, that's only a problem if the changes are bad.
You're not wrong. He makes his way, leading you towards this bonfire where you see a man wearing similar armor to the rest of them, however, no head wrappings. He's just sitting there with his hair loose and his long white beard kind of dangling. Where did my page go on the dude?
Gandalf.
Not a wizard, a warrior. So this is the one, eh? Interesting to see you traveling without your usual troop.
Yeah, well, I don't know what you're looking for, but yep.
Grab a seat.
I grab a chair and just stay standing for about 2 heartbeats before I properly sit down.
You notice getting a closer look now. From up close, you do notice a very distinct point to the ears. This man is an elf. Not necessarily sure which kind. Seems to be like a little more highborn looking, if you didn't know better. The years in the desert and the brutal, scorching mountains. This guy's been around. He's been around a minute. And as you notice, Linax as well removes his head wrappings to sit and talk, and also a large pair of pointed ears.
Just as a point of flavor, if my helmet is not on my head, I have it tucked under my arm. So at this point, I have not been wearing my helmet through.
Yeah, very Mando.
But
I get it.
Yeah, I'll set the helmet down next to the chair next to me and just sit. Like, well, you wanted the conversation.
I'm just curious exactly how much you know about what's been going on between, well, the Imperium and the Resistance. What we're calling the Resistance.
I'm assuming that means yourselves.
Us, other members, the Tempest Consortium. Never thought we'd be allied with pirates, but here we are.
I didn't really care too much to pay too much attention until relatively recently, and even then wasn't my concern.
Are you aware of how much involvement your people have with the Imperium at this point?
I understand the contract. That's about it. Well, I understand there is a contract. That's
goes far beyond the contract. You see, they couldn't protect themselves.
That impression.
Couldn't protect themselves in the mountain anymore. Every time they try to travel on that pass, we attack the Imperium. So they began pouring more and more money into your people's pockets. Now they've been defending the convoys.
What can I say? They're good at what they do.
We're not denying that. Needless to say, it's made our lives quite difficult. I just need to know, you're going to be here. Can we trust you?
I'd rather not shoot one of my own people, but business is business.
We're not paying.
Then I'm not going. I'm not shooting you either. No one's paying me to do that, and I don't get anything out of it. You give me something to do a job, happy to do it. Extracting Toren. Toren's a valuable asset, possibly even to myself. I'm willing to do that. But if you're asking me if I'm going to shoot you in the back, nope. If you're asking me to shoot one of my people, not unless you're paying.
What if someone pays you to shoot me in the back?
They'd be paying an awful lot. I won't miss.
Appreciate your gusto.
I have a question for you. If I had answered any other way, would you believe me?
No. I appreciate the honesty nonetheless.
No point in doing business without it.
You're not wrong, and if there's one thing I respect about your people, it's their dedication to their contracts. Problem is, your people have become a problem for me. And us. And, Lycas or whatever. I keep forgetting the name. Linax. Yeah, he's not wrong, you know. You've been more or less a pain in the ass. We're just wondering how deep your loyalties to them lie, and if we pay you enough, will you tell us how we can gain the upper hand?
I can tell you the operation style for free. I'd love to see you try to get the upper hand.
Tell me what there is to tell.
Long story short, operated pods generally have about 4 specialist format, depending on the pod, depending on exactly who you've been, depending on what contract was picked up. In my case, my general pod was a more or less rounded regiment. I was scout and intel along with general strategic planning. There's also generally 1 vanguard, generally 1 artillery, and artillery being a little bit of a vague term, but long range support
We
And
understand
then
what you mean.
what interceptor? Yeah. We prefer specialists over for quality over quantity, essentially. That's what it comes down to. Pods units are used to inspire loyalty. If you really, really care about your pod mate, you're going to do everything you can to make sure they don't die. If it's a big contract, multiple pods will be deployed. Not common, but has been done. And the key...
We've seen as many as 12 of your people guarding one convoy. I was not exaggerating when I said their contracts have gone above and beyond.
3
what was
pods on a
requested.
convoy. What the? That's not my problem anymore.
We don't know what they were transporting. We just know that it was rather important.
I would say so. And then I suppose last but not least, the biggest thing that keeps my people relevant for long periods of time are 2 relatively straightforward codes. Well, technically there's multiple of them, but 2 really straightforward codes. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're good, you're welcome. And old strategies eventually get outthought. Even an enemy that loses a battle can still have a better plan. Be prepared to learn from that.
Noted.
So if you can use that information to get the upper hand, you'll piss Boer off, but I'd love to see what he does.
Honestly, at this point, if they stand with the Imperium, they'll fall with the Imperium.
I'm assuming you have a much bigger base than this if you're making those kinds of claims.
Come with me. And he stands up, along with Linax, taking up, kind of positioning himself between you and this guy's back. Like, he's not actively interceding, but like he's definitely taking up a more defensive thing and leaving you to take up the rear. And is kind of eyeing you and leans over. Are you sure about this? I'm not sure we can trust him yet. And the guy just... Anyone who's that blatant with their honesty, someone I'm willing to put a little faith in. Go get your friends. Meet us by the cave. And he makes his way and leaves you to essentially to gather Stanislav and Ilsevere, who is sitting at that bench at this point, kind of snacking on a haunch of meat and a nice, somewhat tepid glass of water. And they kind of go off to one of the other tents, discuss something with a couple other members, and you see a couple more armed guards come out, seemingly having been interrupted from their break time or rest time, and kind of takes up a position behind them, also willing or waiting to escort you further into the encampment. What do you do?
I mean, basically, for me, I'm just gonna follow their lead at this point. I've got nothing else to do.
Okay. They allow you a minute to get Stanislav and Ilsevere. As you kind of approach them, Ilsevere looks up. He says, "Well, how did that go?"
Quite well.
Well, you're still alive, so that's a plus.
I feel like if I was gonna be dead, they would have been a little more direct about it. I appreciate that.
Direct isn't necessarily our style, but see what you mean.
I mean, you know what? I'm gonna leave the dialogue to a minimum at this point. Yes, no, I'm glad to be alive, if nothing else.
Yeah, at this point, the leader approaches you. Well, if you've got all your people together, it's time to follow me.
Stanislav, apparently we're about to see something very impressive. You might even find it exhilarating.
I gobble the rest of the whatever pork leg I was eating.
Yeah, definitely some pork.
All right, let's go. Okay.
Okay. The two extra guardsmen take up a position at the rear and kind of box you in between the leader of this group, whose name you actually haven't been told yet because no one introduced themselves. But
yep, that's fine.
Yep.
Just limping my way.
Yeah, you know Linax is the kind of the captain who helped rescue you guys, and that's about as far as that goes. But they lead you up to the cave, and he turns, he says, "Now if we show you this, well, let's just say if anyone finds out about it, we'll know who did it. You're the only people not in the tribe who know about it. Are we clear?"
Sure.
I mean, yeah. Why would I tell those fuckers?
Right. And he makes his way into the cave.
I'll step in behind.
Yep. So essentially, he leads you down a small kind of winding pathway. And as he's walking, he's kind of discussing. Now, I'm not sure how much you know about the civilizations that claimed these lands before the Imperium and their stupidity showed up. They were very ancient people. They were quite powerful and very in tune with their, I want to say gods. I'm not sure how they did things. No one really is at this point. This was a settlement of theirs. We've expanded on it since with the help of a couple of more skilled stone workers within the group. Just say they brought some of the secrets of their people. We've managed to turn this into a bit of a stronghold. And he leads you in. And you see essentially this large area. You come in from the south. We believe this was some kind of trading settlement based on what we found so far, and maybe a small temple based on the statues you'll find in here. And as you come down into the cavern, what you thought was a fairly large encampment outside, like even for the Ember Step, an encampment that large is a little unorthodox. It's not commonly seen. You enter and you see the equivalent of not quite a city, but a small village. You see 4 buildings that are about 4 stories each, built up to the towering roof of this cavern, seemingly made by hand sometime far off in the ancient past. You do see a few new tunnels carved into the sides if you were to look around the buildings, but these are multi-level, multi-family, multi-story buildings. There is a bustling atmosphere down here. You hear the sound of iron being worked somewhere in a forge, just hammers hitting metal on anvils. It is a bustling, I'd say, township down here. You're saying we might need more people. And you look around and you see probably a couple hundred, if not more, folks wandering around this space. These 3 bedrooms are like stacked 4 stories high.
Impressive.
This is something else.
You see at the end of it 2 large archways, or what looks to be 2 sides of a large archway that has collapsed in the middle. So you see the 2 kind of standing parts where it kind of begins to arch up and then it has crumbled. Behind that, there is a small kind of almost oasis with some waterfalls pouring through the roof or pouring out of the sides of the cavern and seemingly draining down underneath what appears to be the massive hulking statue of a sphinx.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that was here when we found it. The water never seems to run out, and we don't know where it drains to. We know it goes under the statue, but we haven't been able to get in there yet.
Is it clean water? Can you drink it?
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of amazing.
How much do you know about the Ember Step?
I mean, I've always been kind of the rough and tumble type who likes fighting, so not that much. Also, I have a little bit of a memory thing going on right now, but...
Well, almost this entire desert has city-sized river systems running through the bedrock of the sandstone, and this appears to be somewhere where it all meets.
Oh, shit.
Based on the artifacts we have gathered and what we have found, I said we gathered that this was some kind of trading post or temple. We don't know much beyond that. Even the elves in the group can't really make sense of the writings we found here. Writing all over that statue up there, and not one of us has a damn clue what it says.
Is it alright if I go take a look?
Absolutely.
I don't know if I can read it or not, but...
Until we manage to formulate some kind of plan to save our compatriot, and I guess yours at this point, This is
He's
where
as
we'll
much
be.
my brother as he is yours.
This is where you'll be staying.
All
We
right,
can
this
keep an
looks
eye on
safe.
you and keep you safe. You gain based on the stress put on to keep an eye on you. This guy is still rather hesitant about you being here, and you're not quite prisoners, but you would not be allowed to leave. So far. Or at least there would be strong resistance to anyone leaving at this point.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna walk over to the statue.
I want to find a stick or a piece of wood, or like I effectively either want to find or carve a wooden dagger.
Oddly enough, you see a number of trees down here.
Okay.
Somewhere trees should not be growing.
Mm-hmm.
They're large, especially the two by the Sphinx.
Yep.
Two massive savanna trees that you would only see growing around an oasis.
Okay.
Seemingly no sunlight down here. But the soil is apparently fertile, and something is giving these plants the ability to grow. You see bushes, fruit bushes, like different berries and other various things you would find in the desert growing in abundance down here.
Okay.
Chris has an idea, but I don't think Stanislav would have like any clue about how this.
It's elf magic,
Oh,
mostly. Yeah. But you said you want to approach the statue.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
Just gonna kind of slowly walk up to it, and I'm gonna like look at it in its eyes as I'm walking up to it.
Oddly enough,
sure I've heard of sphinxes before.
The way it was carved, it kind of like the eyes are following you. Not quite, but there's a weird, almost lifelike nature to the face. It doesn't appear to be moving or awake or alive or anything, but the level of detail in the carving is more immaculate than anything you have ever seen.
Wow.
You see written into it what appears to be a strange amalgamation of Elvish and Celestial.
I speak Celestial.
Do you speak Elvish?
No, but can I extrapolate?
It would be about as much as you managed to extrapolate from the scroll that Ziggy showed you on that level.
Yeah, just words here and there.
So I would say for that, that probably would be an intelligence-based thing?
Yikes. Okay.
I feel like maybe history would be possible. There isn't really a check to decipher language, but I'd say, yeah, just roll me a basic intelligence check.
Okay. I'm just going to roll it as history because it's the same.
Sure.
Nope.
You can't really make sense of it. You see a few words that stand out. It's not quite hieroglyphic. It is writing. And you see like a reference to the word that you would probably translate to the word sun or star or something along those lines. It's a reference to a celestial body, either a sun or a star or a planet. You're not quite sure, but it is
no
referenced.
Like actual name.
There's no name, but there's
that I can make
regular references to the sun or this star, this celestial object.
Do I like feel a connection to this thing in any sort of strange way? Like, I don't know. I'm gonna reach out and touch it.
Roll me a religion check, actually.
Okay. Because like I still don't know where my own fucking powers come from.
Mm-hmm. It's weird. You know that somewhere in your blood, somewhere in your bloodline, something went slightly amiss and you would have gone from what essentially would be some kind of infernal, more demonic-based tiefling to this weird golden entity that should not exist. You are an anomaly. You're the only one of your kind you have ever seen. In a weird way, you feel a slight connection to this statue. In the sense that a lot of there's definitely like a magical aura to it almost. Like the writing itself seems magical. You're not sure what this connection means. You have no idea how this language translates, but something about this statue draws you in a bit. It's like almost like you need like a Rosetta Stone type deal, where once an artifact or something is found that can translate this language, or at least begin to, you can start making sense of it. That's not something you guys currently have access to. You know, one person who does.
I'm going to just try something. I'm going to cast Enhanceability on myself, Fox's Cunning.
What was that?
I'm going to Target has advantage on intelligence checks, and I'm going to try and read it again.
Sure, go ahead. With the 10. I mean, with the 10, that's still better.
Yeah.
So what you do know, again, is there's this regular reference to star or sun or great flame in the sky almost. Like it's a revered. There's a reverence when speaking about the stars based on this. You can't make out what the Elvish text says, but the bit of celestial kind of words that are mixed in with these, it's a very strange ancient language that has kind of Elvish branched off and then Celestial branched off in its own way, but there's elements connecting both of them. You do see one kind of word that makes sense, or one reference that makes sense, and it would translate loosely to Star Speaker.
Huh. All right. I guess I'm just gonna back away from the statue. Still looking at it, I'm probably gonna back up like 30 feet before I turn around.
Once again, it almost seems like the eyes are following you.
Yeah. I'm just gonna kind of like acknowledge it and acknowledge that I'm like leaving its presence. Feeling like there's something there.
Feel severe. There's something weird about that thing, eh?
A little bit. I could understand one thing on it. It says Star Speaker, sort of, a little bit, maybe.
What that could mean, I mean.
I have no idea. It's just, I don't know, it felt weird. I felt a little bit of a connection to it.
Perhaps I might have read something about it. I don't think I have. I mean, what we know of the Undara people is that they were very religious, and they worshipped the sun, the stars, the cosmos, and themselves. They were led by somebody. Perhaps this is the Star Speaker of which you speak. But we know not. Very little has been discovered. Much was destroyed by the Imperium when they arrived.
All the more reason to fucking wipe them out of existence.
You're not going to hear me, are you?
Yeah, but you might hear me complain about the logistics as I'm like carving this. As I'm walking
Yeah.
up from having
You
found
managed
my
to find
stick
like
and
a few twigs. Sorry, I glossed over that. You do, from the trees, manage to find like a piece of fallen wood that you can
Well,
carve.
You know what? Your logistics have been sound and probably have saved my life more than one point at this time, so I'm not gonna argue with you on that one.
Oops.
A thinker, I'm a doer.
That's fair. I'm like checking my stick. I'll try to like spit it to check the weight. I'm just gonna do it until I'm happy that I have
roll
like
me
a
a survival
makeshift
check.
dagger. All right. I'm
I
decent.
feel
at
like
those.
survival skills is like carving. Yeah,
Alright,
you managed to make a
whittling.
fairly decent, like whittle a fairly decent wooden dagger. There's not really an edge to it per se, but you managed to sharpen the tip enough that you could drive it into someone's chest if you need. You've essentially made a
Oh.
pretty wooden stake.
Okay, I'm gonna then cut the sharp point off. I don't want it to actually be sharp. I want it to be like a dull dagger. This is a training dagger.
Okay, you file it down then.
Yeah. Um.
Take a little like
Later
sandpaper to it. You're good.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I'm gonna flourish it a little bit in a similar
Just
manner to what had
File
been
it down
done
with your rough
earlier.
personality.
It's right up there with those jokes where it's like play it in B, you'll flat it yourself.
What are you doing there, friend?
Well, I found myself curious about how capable your troops are.
Saying you want to
So-
fight.
I don't want to fight him like it's traditional arena per se. I want to see you okay, let me put it this way. You've been talking about how big of a problem. At this point, I'm like flipping my new wooden dagger a little bit. I'm like, you've been talking about how much of a problem that my folks are. I want to see if you have what it takes to deal with them.
Deal.
And he would know.
Linax kind of steps up and like you're kind of calling him out. Like this is a pride issue. And
Oh,
as he
shit.
does, the leader puts his hand on his chest. I think I can handle this.
Oh, you probably can. I just want to see it happen.
You sure you want to do this?
Oh, I've already lost once in an arena fight. My goal here is not to prove that I'm an incredible fighter. I'm a strategist, and as I'm doing this in catching, I am more built for ranged combat. I am more built for artillery. Well, I am more built for specialist support, picking off enemies from a distance, that sort of thing. Finally, I'll just catch it and keep it. But when it comes to sparring, I've seen enough of my people do what they do. So I might lose this fight, but I'm going to learn a lot out of it.
What's your name? I don't know what to write on your tombstone.
I am going to pull back because my armor is split. I'm going to pull back part of my armor and take a piece that's like broken on it because I do need to replace my armor at this point. I just hold it up and like, just bury that, and I'll drop it.
Deal.
I don't need a tombstone, but my name is Atin.
Feas. Nice to meet you.
And you as well. Now then, Feas, is there a proper arena, or shall I draw a circle in the ground?
We prefer the circle. Come with me. Let's not do this around the children. And now looking around, you see that not only there's an abundance of soldiers and troopers and different warrior type looking individuals here, there is a number of small children, women, men who are incapable of fighting, elderly. This is as much a war encampment as is a refuge.
I am curious you don't expose these children to combat stratagem.
Not yet. They've seen enough. These are all people whose families were slaughtered. When they're ready to pick up a sword, they will. I don't think 5 is an appropriate age for that.
Perhaps like 5.5 or 6.
We're not looking for child soldiers here.
I will not. Well, I'll leave the ideology to you. Let's go.
Be trained when it's time. In the meantime, with me.
All right.
He leads you all back outside, leaving the statue of the fucking Sphinx behind you. And as you're walking away, Stanislav, you look back over your shoulder at it. You can swear the expression on the face was a little more tense. Or not, maybe tense isn't the word. Aware. It's not a noticeable change, but subtle. Strange. Almost like as you feel connected to it, it does to you as well.
I'm gonna like acknowledge it. Just give kind of a small head nod again before I leave what I now consider to be its space.
Yeah, doesn't do anything else. They lead you back out into the main area. I promise not to kill you. Don't worry. And he's going to have his men draw a circle in the ground. And this is just going to be like a straight up combat, just like a little dagger on dagger action.
Pretty much. Elsevier. Looks like we get a little bit of a show here. It's nice to be on the other side of this for a change.
Yeah, well, let's just say I don't think your friend's gonna like this very much. Is that map in background?
Did Elsevier become American?
I'm sorry. But
Sorry.
I don't think he's going to like this all that much. I just want to remove my circle. Let me remove my circle.
Your captain's a little bit nicer to him. I did that to his armor in the gladiatorial arena.
Why can't I select my circle? What the fuck? Yeah, that's our circle for now. Just pretend that it doesn't edge onto a statue.
Yep, understood.
All right.
I'll be right.
Yeah, no, we're gonna take a break.
Okay.
Because I need to pull out some character sheets real quick. So before we do that, he's going to take off his armor completely. Pants, bare chest. Care to join me?
No.
Wasn't a request.
That wasn't the purpose.
I want to see who stands better man to man. We stand better man to man.
I did not say I wanted to know who stood better man to man. I said I wanted to know if you could take my people. I also told you I'm a tactician. I'm not a fighter. I lose in melee combat. I don't want to know if you're a better fighter than me. I want to know if you can take my people. So you can fight how you want. I fight how I do.
Fair enough. He throws his armor to the ground outside of the circle and just readies. And you see now that he's standing before you shirtless. While he looks like an older man, his musculature and just general body structure is tight, very firm muscle, very defined, and he's just standing there ready, and there's not a wrinkle on him.
Yeah, nice.
Like Arnold.
He's very jacked, and he's going to. Now we don't have any training daggers per se, but he goes over and grabs a spear and just knocks the head off of it. So he's essentially wielding a bow staff.
Very well.
Ready when you are, and he just stands and puts one hand on the staff.
Okay. And I'm assuming that's where we'll break before
and that's where we're going to take
Yeah.
our break. So everyone who's hanging out, we're going to take a quick 15. Be back in just a little bit. I got to do just a tiny little bit of prep work, and then we will dive into this nice little impromptu combat.
This next episode of Bully Beatdown.
We will be back in a minute, folks. Stick around. Hello. What is up, folks? So, quick recap. Thank you to everyone who's popped in so far. We journeyed northward after our grand escape, avoiding a sandstorm by a few percent on a percentile dice. And making our way northward to this small settlement where Atin, having been loosely interrogated by the leader of this particular tribe about his affiliations to his own, decided the best course of action was to settle this in the dueling ring and see if these people are actually capable of taking down one of his own. And that's where we're going to pick up.
To quote the Matrix, you never truly know a man until you fight him.
Exactly. And he's like standing there, and he takes the spear, breaks it in half to about the length of a longsword, and switches to a longswordy stance.
Hey, brother.
Are you sure you don't want something a little more big? And it just twirls very dexterously.
I look at my dagger. I'm like, I can at least confirm that mine is probably appropriately the size. The only thing I can confirm with you is that you're compensating.
I need you to roll initiative.
Slam dunked.
That's good.
Hey, brother. Good. Hey, brother. I'll bet you a gold on my buddy here if he wins.
He gets advantage on initiative rolls. Wait, I want to add a turn. Oh, I gotta count it there. Whoop.
Hey, brother.
He rolled a 20. What? He's like staring.
Bet you a gold on my guy that he wins.
He kind of taps. He's like, all right. Reaches in, pulls out like a single gold piece, and you hear no further jingle in his pocket. He's just carrying around this gold piece, and he puts it down. So the fight's gonna start. He's just gonna take a defensive stance and stand there waiting for you. That's his turn.
Okay. Yeah, that was actually my plan.
Taking the dodge action.
Yeah, that was my plan.
I know.
Yeah. I'll match. I'll bring the dagger up. All right. Show me what you've got.
Okay. He is going to start his turn by picking up some sand and hurling it towards you to start the fight off as his first attack. He's gonna roll a I'm just gonna make that a dex check, I think, because he doesn't have any extra stats on. Dirty 20.
Yep.
So he throws sand into your eyes. I need you to make me a Constitution save. It's a con. Yeah, con makes sense.
Oh, hang on, it didn't go through. Maybe I didn't click as a button.
Okay, you're good. You manage to, as it gets in your eyes, you blink and just, focus through the pain. You fought with sand in your eyes before. You fought in the desert many, many times.
Yeah.
I've
So-
also made sure to stand more than 10 feet away from the edge of the circle because of my aura. I don't want him to be in my aura protection.
Okay, deal. So he's going to rush at you and do his other 2 attacks with the long sword. Or the long stick. I believe that's a miss.
Yep, that's a miss.
And that's a hit.
Also, I did take dodge, so
That was a +2 to AC, I believe.
well, no, dodge is just disadvantage on attack rolls.
Oh, yeah. So the first one would be a 12.
Mhm.
Next one's a 17.
That will hit.
Okay. And he's just going to come in and slam it into your guts with, like, into your stomach with 2 hands, trying to knock the wind out of you. You take 12 points of slashing damage. Or I'm going to say
bludgeoning.
Yeah,
bludgeoning
it is.
damage.
in this case, yeah.
Bludgeoning here. Yeah, that's
He's
fine.
bludgeoning that ass. And then he's
It's
just,
clobbering time.
yeah, and he's going to step back and keep holding it up. So he's going to be standing right up here next to you, right in your face.
Okay. I'm gonna
That's your
use. I'm gonna use no movement. Take my bonus action, and I'm gonna attack with advantage. Oh, what? Just okay. That was weird.
Okay, go for it.
So that is. Oh, I shouldn't have done the +7. That's a dirty 20 or 2 hit.
Yeah, that hits.
So I'm gonna expend
He's
one of
not
my.
wearing armor and doesn't have a shield, so his AC is quite low.
I'm gonna expend one of my superiority die to go for a trip attack.
Okay, go for it.
So I'm going to be doing. Hold on. 1 second. I don't have a dagger. I should have added a dagger in my inventory. I didn't. I had the time. So I'm just gonna do this this way. So
Put some combat music on, eh?
19 points of damage.
This is kind of interesting combat music. I kind of like it.
Okay, you can go back to that.
No, it's up to you. But
I'm good with that. What was that?
19
wow.
points of damage.
Of almost piercing damage. That would hurt, dude. Getting jabbed in the ribs with a
Yep.
dagger, a wooden fucking stick.
And he's got to make a I think it's a strength for a trip attack. Yeah, it's a strength DC 15.
19.
Okay, not going to be tripped. That's
So as
fine.
you go for the trip, he just holds fast and steadies himself.
Yep.
You can tell this is someone who's probably fought in a shield wall and is used to having their legs attacked very frequently.
All right.
big hit though.
That is a big hit. He definitely feels it. Like he doesn't wince, but you see the body absorb the blow, and that will be his turn, I believe.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass. I could action surge, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, that could be fun. Okay, he is going to at this point try to make a called shot for your wrist that's holding the dagger and attempt to disarm you. If he hits, I'm going to have you save against it, but he's going to just disadvantage because he's calling a shot.
Yep, I'm fine with that.
Oh, it's a crit and a 12. Damn.
Whew. Oh, that would have hurt. Oh, that would have hurt.
Oh boy!
I'm sad. I'm so sad. I don't like that. Okay, he's
You're
going to do
being
it
robbed.
again. He's going to do it again. A 16.
Just hits.
Okay, he's going to bop that wrist. It's for, I think the right is the two-handed. So 12 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay,
To
hang
the
on 1
wrist.
second.
And I need you to make a strength save. I'm going to say 14.
Okay, I can do that. 1 second.
That's like old Catholic school nun teacher level of bludgeoning damage to the wrist.
Here comes the ruler. Okay, and then you said strength check?
Save.
Well, save, yeah. 9, so dagger drops.
Dagger drops. And then with the last move, he's going to just with the left hand come in and unarmed strike you in the face.
He gets 3 attacks?
He does. Or he
Okay.
can attack 3. And
Yeah, he's level 12.
so
Just
16.
hits.
Okay, so he's just going to do. I mean, it's like a 1 plus his strength, so 6. You take 6 points of bludgeoning damage to the face as he just brings the left hand up and socks you one.
Hey, buddy.
Just pop right in the jaw.
Okay.
Pow right in the kisser.
Pow right
Yeah.
there.
So is it half of my movement to pick up the dagger, or like what does it cost me?
Half movement, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna half movement, pick up the dagger. I am then going to, because now I've used half my movement, so I can't take the advantage strike. I'm gonna go ahead and use my bonus action to use healing, or not healing, fighting spirit. Is that what it's called? Second wind.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna gain 9 points back. And then I'm gonna make an attack. It'll be oh yeah, baby. So that is going to be, and I am going to dump a
Goddamn.
superior.
Duh.
I'm gonna dump a superiority die into that. I'm just gonna have it auto roll 2d4 as opposed to just
yeah.
roll one and double it.
Go ahead.
So, oh, that kind of sucked. Oh well.
That's not
It's
bad.
16 points of damage, and I'll have him make a dex save.
Is that multiplied too, though? Because it should be times
No,
two.
well,
Or you
it's
just rolled
1d
extra
1d4 for, yeah, 1d4 for the dagger, or 1d8 for the thing, and then add an additional die is what I did instead of doubling. So honestly, with the numbers I rolled, it wouldn't have changed much.
He didn't like that. Like,
No.
As that connects, he's like,
Yeah.
And then you kind of just like ram the blunt end into his temple.
Make a strength save to not go prone. 22. Okay, fine.
Beefy boy.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Pass the turn.
He's going to. He's going to use the disengage action.
Okay.
Step back. And just end his turn. Actually, he's going to second wind. Damn. It sucks.
Okay.
It sucks. It's the worst. Alright. So you second wind. And did fuck all. So he steps back and kind of assumes a defensive posture. He's not taking the stance per se. He's just preparing for your next move.
All right. Okay. Sure. I'm gonna all or nothing this shit. Take the dagger, flip it, just chuck it at him.
He's gonna try to Aragorn style, like knock.
You
that
said
shit
he
out the
hasn't
air.
taken dodge, right?
No, yeah, no. So he just has straight attack.
Damn it. Fuck. I didn't call it, so I can't. I can't commit. But
Oh, do it. Yeah, if you want the advantage, go for it.
okay, then I will roll again.
You didn't move. That's the rule. If you don't move, you get advantage.
God damn it. Okay. So that's 6 plus 9. So that's a 15.
And what is a strangely dexterous move from a fucking warrior of this like stature? Just like the elf comes out and he steps and just catches it midair where his face would have been.
Okay.
That was a close one.
I concede.
He just throws it down.
Yeah. I just shrug. Kind of crack my neck. Well, that's me.
He's gonna rush forward and hit you one more time in the stomach.
That's fair.
It's a miss. You flex your fucking muscles real hard. You make like rock ribs and just stops.
Yeah.
Some extra row on either side pop out.
Yeah, I was gonna try a pushing attack that he was like very likely to make, but I was gonna try to push him out of the ring with the deck. that was my only play.
He's gonna stop. He's like, "Oh, if I was a less gentle man, you'd be a dead one right now."
Yeah, if I was fighting to my strengths, you never would have touched me. But you know, that was never the point of this battle. At least not to me.
Satisfied.
Nonetheless, I'm satisfied that there's at least one warrior that is up to par.
You'll find many stand the same. I don't know why I got all redneck on you there, but
I don't know why.
I don't know why.
You Buchanan now?
I've been told.
The hammer.
Yeah, I'm I now find myself wondering on the under end of things what Buddha thinks of you, but that's not my problem.
I'm not gonna lie to you, there's been deaths on both sides. I'm just sticking with it now. It's permanent, I can't stop it.
It's fine.
Let's see. There's like a moment of like a pang of nope, that's fine. There is like a moment where Atin actually like there's a flash of like regret in a way, but kind of just lets it rest. Well,
It happens in this line of work.
it is indeed. But I can tell that you're, at least if nothing else, a much more capable warrior than myself.
No. Let's just say I got a few more years on you.
I mean, fair.
Get some
I
food.
go.
Get some
Yeah.
rest.
I also go and pick up my my dagger.
Don't cause any more trouble. And he just goes and walks back up the stairs.
I put the kind of like somewhat holster my dagger, and I'm like, I mean, if that's trouble, then head back to Stanislav. I'm like, so did you win your gold coin?
Oh, please, don't worry about that. Is that, are you
I
guys?
wasn't.
I'm gonna look to Elsevier. Are you guys struggling around here with coin?
Hmm.
Kind of seems like it.
Let's just say that they're not. I don't have much use for it myself. I find my services are best if offered free of charge.
Remember earlier, Stanislav, when I mentioned logistics? Yeah, no, it does not surprise me in any capacity. Money may fuel war, but the people who need it never have it.
Well, I mean, I acquired a lot of winnings out of that arena. As much of a mistake as that was and almost cost us our lives, could be put to good use around here. Perhaps I'll go talk to the leader.
Let's just say that's up to... fuck, I keep going to that. It's up to them.
Alright.
They need it. I'm sure they'll take it.
Well,
If they don't need it, I don't know. I don't have much use for it myself.
I'm not gonna lie. The only thing I care about at this point is finding out if there's a team going after Toren.
Also, you got kind of shit kicked, so here, I'm gonna drop the rest of my 20 points of lay on hands on you.
Oh,
There you go. A little bit of heals.
how many do I actually need? 1 second.
Also, what up, Potato?
20 or to full.
Hope you're doing good,
whichever
man.
comes first.
20 puts me almost to full. I'm
Okay.
literally 1 hit point from max.
All of
There you
them.
go. Also, we got Potato swinging by. Hell yeah, bro.
Hey, potato!
Hello,
We love-
potato.
We love Potato.
We do. Potatoes are good.
Good potato.
Yeah, so I'm going to gonna try to find what was it, axe line? No. Line axe. Line axe, got it backwards.
Yeah, Linex. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the way I remember his name is a line of axes. So I'll find Line Axe and ask if they have a team going for Toren, because I thought I heard something about that earlier.
Yes, well, at the moment, we, let's just say we have our people in the right places figuring out when he's going to be moving, and once we figure out that, well, it's a simple matter of intercepting them. But if your people are with them, it might be a bit of an issue. Are you sure you want to tag along for that?
Yeah, quite sure.
I'd like to come too if it's possible.
Do you think your foot's going to be up to it?
Well, I mean, I need probably at least another day or two to get it back to full. But I can, if I concentrate on it, then I can heal it quickly. Perhaps just a day, pumping lots of magic into it.
Is Toren still being kept in the city proper?
As far as we know, yes. Your former master still has business to attend, and my understanding that he'll be returning to his estate by the road. At least that's how he arrived.
I also have a very capable mount over there that I can do some pretty neat shit with. Pointing towards the little shiny golden horse.
Yeah, I thought we were aware now of what going in all shiny and golden like is going to cause.
I can re-summon him to not be shiny.
You can put him on a dimmer.
Yes, quite literally. I can make him. I can make him look like whatever I want. I just kind of it naturally emulates myself. You know.
Dude, that's amazing. Dimmer switch for your holy mount.
I can just summon him to look like normal horse, essentially.
Clap on, clap off. As soon as we know something, though, you'll know something, and you'll be the first ones.
I'll take it.
All right.
No. I think it's best you all get some rest and work on that foot. We'll need to move in a hurry when the information comes.
I just had a question, perhaps for what was the leader's name again? We were told.
Bias.
I have a question for Fias, if he has a moment, or perhaps you could answer. I don't know.
It's a question.
Well, in my mistake of going into the arena, I actually was able to get quite a bit of money off of those people, and I was wondering if that could go anywhere around here.
Probably. We have a lot of mouths to feed.
All right.
But it's hard to get supplies. You understand?
Absolutely. I mean, if it's anything that'll help, I'll gladly give you a fair bit.
Well, talk to the chef, see what he needs. They'll be doing a supply run soon. He's in charge.
All right. Perhaps he also got kind of shit kicked. I'll talk to him in the morning.
Have you ever tried?
Trust me, I've seen him take far larger hits and walk away standing.
Oh yeah, he's fine.
Light scratch, really. I'm impressed you did what you did. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, I mean, to be perfectly fair, I think he might. He wasn't poor, but he was good.
I
Well,
also haven't introduced
I
myself.
don't think
to
he's
him
got
yet.
out and stretch his legs yet. Been a while.
Fair, although I mean, to be clear, even with what he did, one of Stanislav's super mega death rocket charges would have had a very similar impact. Oh, do you hear that? It's the sound of burning. They're coming.
Is your apartment on fire?
No, they're cooking.
Same thing, really.
Anyway.
Apartment life, dudes.
Well, I haven't introduced myself to him yet, so I'm going to go talk to him.
Sure, that's fine.
All right.
What were the walls of the temple made out of again?
Sandstone. It was carved into the rock, which is weird for elves.
Yeah,
That stands out as very odd for elves.
I'm gonna let Stanislav have his dialogue.
Okay.
Nice. I'm going to go talk to Fias.
Okay. You go to walk up the stairs, and the guard's like, "What do you think you're doing?"
Oh, I've come to give him a whole bunch of money.
I love the
I'm
way
also
that you
introduced
operate,
myself.
dude.
Roll me a persuasion check with advantage
Right.
for that. You wasn't expecting that.
What are you here for? Money.
A 15.
That's amazing. Okay. He's like, all right, but I've got my eye on you.
I'm
He
also
steps aside a little
Ilsevir's
confused.
brother. I haven't introduced myself to him yet. You know how things are.
You're that one's brother, eh?
It's in the eyes,
And the horns.
I guess. Mine are shiny golden though.
He's
Same
very
shape,
horny.
Was that an Atin? That was an in-character Atin quip. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Oh my god. Anyway, he steps aside to let you pass, and you make your way just through the sand, and you see Fias just sitting by the fire, sipping some wine out of a goblet. Well, not really a goblet. It's more of like a basic ass wooden cup, like a stemless wine glass, but made out of wood. He's just sipping, enjoying a drink by the fire.
Hello, do you mind if I join you for just a moment?
Not at all.
I'm gonna sit down next to him.
What can I do for you?
I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Ilsvir's brother. My name is Stanislav.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about you. You went on quite the wild goose chase looking to find you. Gone for some time. We haven't seen them in months.
So I've heard. It's been an interesting time, that's for sure. But in my last little escapade, as much of attention as I managed to attract, I was able to get quite a bit of coin out of those people, and I was wondering if it could maybe help towards your next supply run.
Sure. It goes a long way. Problem
All
is,
right.
it's hard to get wagons up here, so we usually go on foot. Small amounts. Try not to draw too much attention to the area. We
For
go
sure,
what we
that's-
can, but it's fucking desert.
That's all right. I'm gonna pull out 100 platinum. Looks like a small amount, but this should be easily transportable.
You know that's more money than most people here have ever been in proximity of, let alone seen. I wouldn't be flashing that around too much. These are good people, but they're also desperate.
That's why I came to you first.
He just looks around. You see the guard kind of eyeing the shiny stack of platinum.
I'm doing it
coins.
subtly. I put it on my lap. Fuck's sake.
Those motherfuckers. Fucking smoke alarm is so great, dude.
I love it.
Sorry, YouTube. Sorry to anyone viewing for your ears is. Yeah, we didn't hear it enough already.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this subtly. Like, I know that it's a lot, and I don't want just everybody to see that.
Don't worry
So-
about him.
All right.
My nephew. He's an idiot.
I just wanted to let you know that whatever happens, I'm with you and your people. I was enslaved for 3 years by some awful, awful people, and it would be great to see their heads on the platter.
We'll see what we can do. This isn't going to be an easy process, and there's going to be a lot of bloodshed along the way. You ready for that?
Yeah, I think I'll be fine.
What if it's your brother's blood that's being shed?
I can do a lot to help him. You'd be surprised at what I can do.
You'd be surprised how chaotic a battlefield. And
I've seen. I've been involved. I've lost a comrade.
that's not a battle.
You're right. I can hold my own.
See. You're welcome here. This is your brother. He's done a lot for these folk. Good man.
I
Tiefling.
absolutely one of the best.
Well, he spent a lot of time looking for you. You better appreciate that.
Well, he saved my life. If he didn't let me know that those people were coming, then I mean, he's given short notice. I probably would be in chains back there with Toren right now.
Yeah, it's a shame about that. Honestly, we were hoping to find him.
We'll get him out. But what a strange chain of events that led us to being as close with him as he is with you.
Strange indeed. You meet a strange amount of people in chain. Most people here know that.
Ain't that truth?
Keep that in mind when you're around here. A lot of these folks are good, but like I said, they're desperate. Keep an eye on your things.
All right, appreciate it.
Tell your friend he's pretty good with a knife.
Should see him with a bow.
There's a range inside if he's ever looked at some practicing. And he's just gonna lean back, kind of sip, look into the fire, and like you notice from his glance, it's a man who has seen a lot.
A 1,000-yard stare type of thing.
Yeah, almost, but it's like highly focused. Like there's like
Yeah.
that elven focus in his eyes, but they're also cold, and like you can tell this is a man who's seen the worst of like the very heart of combat.
And I know that elves live to be hundreds and hundreds of years old, so he's been through
Thousands,
it.
yeah. I in my homebrew thing. They're like more like Lord of the Rings, totally
Oh,
immortal.
shit. Okay.
In D&D, they actually have like an age. I think it's like 800 or some shit. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wordlessly get up and let him be.
Yep, he just sits there. Stay
Go
safe.
back and Dude.
Yeah, at this point, I have probably found somebody who I think is authority. I'm like, have you ever like considered carving out an extra room near that like water spring and making like an indoor greenhouse for extra food?
We've done. You're talking to
Just
locals,
to-
right?
Yeah, just anyone who's like an authority figure around here, pretty much.
Well, we've tried. There's a fair amount of magic in the ground, and we grow what we can. You've seen the shrubs and berries and fruits, but larger
Right.
crops require a little more. It's not a bad idea, though. We're
I
not
mean-
quite sure why things still grow here. Honest with you.
I mean, I'm less concerned with why. I mean, concerned with why is definitely important, sure, but I'm a big believer in waste not, want not, and if you have an entire reservoir of basically infinite water in an infinite desert, seems pragmatic to make the most of it.
You're not wrong. We've funneled what we can to help what plants we can grow, but you're right. We should probably expand a little. Problem is, we don't know exactly how stable everything is. Digging too much. You can see we've already done a large amount of work. And he gestures around to like the other rooms. You see like a forge, an armory, an archery range, a training room, sergeant or soldiers' quarters. Like they've done
Yep.
quite a bit.
I
But you're
mean,
not
I
wrong.
considered the idea of perhaps making it I forget what it's called, like tubing basically that would go out, but I can't remember what they're called.
Aqueducts?
Yeah, like aqueducts for outside, but I have a feeling that you really don't want to have anything more visible than necessary, so it wouldn't really
Yeah.
work out that
We have
well.
we have a small well up there anyway, and it's mostly soldiers up there at this point. As you can see, we've a number of families down here.
I mean, that's fair, but I mean,
The
none of this
kids
is
like
my
to
kids.
play in the water.
And there's like a legitimate moment of like disbelief come on his face. He's like, what sorry, say that again.
They swim there.
Drinking water, or is this like salt water?
It's fresh water. It's an
He walks
ever-flowing
away.
source of
He-
water. He's like
he
confused.
walks
as you walk
away. Just walks away.
People swim in lakes and rivers. And people still had to get water. out of
No,
those.
but like it's clean water that could be utilized. And they're like, instead of making more food for the war, we swim.
it's not a pool. It's a drainage, and it keeps draining. So it's like an ever-changing source of water.
Atin is a very logistical fucking like.
Yeah, but there's no way you
calc-
could possibly use all that water. It's like
you could find like you could be building. You could build things in the water, and like
stairs make it easier to swim in it.
God damn.
You don't have the steady hands or the technical knowledge to pull off a procedure like that.
I didn't say
Watch
I
me.
did. Atin just knows it's like we could be using again military. Everything should be
Super bad.
militarized. He's not used to the idea of fun. So
Oh,
so when they're like, we swim in it, he's like, what do you mean? You have infinite water. You could be selling this shit. You could be like bottling it infinitely. You could like be taking it and making like entire greeneries around your entire base. And you're swimming? What the fuck do you mean you're swimming? Like you have options and you
clipped it.
picked the dumbest
I fucking clipped the shit out of that.
one.
It's a highlight.
It's like I understand as Michael, like, yeah, no, swimming in a pool, in an infinite pool, absolutely. Atin's like, what do you mean you're not militarizing this shit?
Also a
This could be a
source of
weapon.
bathing. It's multi-purpose water.
Yeah.
Water is multi-purpose. Jesus. Either way, he just kind of like follows you slowly with his hands crossed, just like,
Yeah, I just go to the archery range and just like absentmindedly just.
okay. He's gonna come up next to you and shoot some arrows with you.
I'm gonna go hang out with Ilsevere. Eat some food.
So you just sit down next to him. He's kind of still recovering from his wounds, so he's not super duper
As am
happy.
Mhm.
He's kind of just sitting there. He looks at you. We've come a long way.
Perhaps a bit too far in certain areas, but
Perhaps. But here we are.
I'm gonna see if I can do something about this foot.
We have another look at it. He's gonna do another medicine
I
check.
have an idea. Before I go to sleep tonight, I'm gonna use every single one of my spells to cast Cure Wounds. All of them.
He's also gonna make a medicine. Ooh, he binds it very well this time.
Nice.
He like actually manages to get it wrapped, splints it up, make sure everything's lined up the way it needs to be. He has to pop a couple bones back in place to get them to line up, but it hurts like hell. But it's starting to improve. There was a couple
Right.
pieces still askew that have been fixed now, but
Ow.
the more magic you pump into it, the better it's getting.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds 4 times at level 1 and then once at level 2.
Atin. So he's just gonna
Yeah.
stand next to you. And are you shooting your crossbow or your longbow?
I'll take what they have instead, just so that I won't use my weapons just in case people get nervous about me using my own shit.
I mean, no. Yeah, okay, that's fair. So you pick up the bow in front of you, and it is immaculately made. Something you haven't seen. This is an elvish bow. An elven longbow.
To think they can make this shit and couldn't think to make a forge next to an infinite source of water. I'm mumbling this shit to myself. As
There is a forge.
Not right next to the infinite source of water.
Again, it flows, bro.
Again, Atin doesn't care about any of that shit. He's just upset that people are having fun.
Oh, so he's being a Toby.
Kind
Thief
of.
of joy.
They're at war. They're at war, and they're like, let's have a kiddie pool. It's like there are more important things, right?
Not a kiddie pool. It's just an infinite source of water. Use it as such.
All of that is
Either
true.
way.
It is irrelevant to the
Anyways.
character.
Jesus Christ. Oh my god, thank you for the host, Deathmare. Jesus. Oh, thank you, Potato, for swinging by. Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm sorry
So
for my
much
friends.
water.
I'm so
Water
happy to hear the
debates.
death in your voice.
Yeah, it's Anyway, so this is
H2O,
like an
my
elven
God.
made. This would be almost considered like a masterwork. Like this isn't magical, but it's going to give you a +1 to attack rolls
Okay.
with it just because of how well crafted it is. So I'll do up a homebrew for it. Damage
Sure.
as well. It's beautiful, but the draw weight on it is a little heavier than you're used to. Despite the fact of being elven made, it is a powerful bow. It's beautiful. There's like ornate kind of vine-like carvings moving up it that are kind of inlaid with a link. Looks more like copper.
Gotcha.
It's not an expensive metal. It's something that's readily available, but
This is gonna take some getting used to.
yeah, well, it packs quite a punch, believe me.
Oh, I believe that. How many arrows a minute can you usually do off?
Want to find out?
Grab 3 arrows, one in each, between each finger and knuckle. So I'm carrying 3 arrows, and it's not a proper quick draw because like an actual quick draw bow has to be like 60 pounds, and this is easily higher than that.
Oh yeah.
But just. And I'm just going to repeat that for a minute. And I can only fire off 1 shot, so I can only do 10 arrows a minute. But I am interested to see how this other guy does.
10
He has-
10
he-
APM.
I mean,
Yep.
technically, from using the
Does he have
stat block,
multi-attack?
he has 2 attacks,
Yeah.
and that's 1 every 6 sec. That's 2 in 6 seconds.
So, is this guy an elf too?
Yeah.
I'm actually what I'm going to
Oh.
do as
Yeah.
he's firing off.
I say we both make dex checks.
Okay, let's make dex checks.
Thanks.
Considering that he's got double the attacks, I feel like having
Shouldn't he be at
advantage.
advantage? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just appropriate.
16.
So 16 as well. But what I am going to do, or one of the things that I'm going to do, is as a bonus action, I can use the help. I can use the help action and up to 30 feet. So I'm actually going to
Thanks for the
actively
word,
assist.
potato. Sorry.
I'm going to actively assist this guy in his shots. So he would have advantage on attack rolls, like as we're coordinating on targets, because this is where my strength actually lies, is coordination.
So between the two of you, in a minute, you managed to put, I'd say, like, split, like, both of your arrows probably like 9 to 10 downrange in a minute. They're not the most accurate shots you've ever done, but they're fast, and they all hit the target. And you both managed to put about an equal number. So 10. We'll just say 10. 5 each.
Just say 10, yeah.
Yeah, because with your advantage and the coordination, you kind of both get into a rhythm and just start, like, pulling and loosing arrows together. And then they start getting in sync. And you guys just kind of lock in. It's very rhythmic.
I mean, effective.
What did you expect? Think I'd miss?
No, I never said that.
I'm kidding, my friend.
It's fine.
Don't be so tense all the time. Relax.
I actually, at this point, will actually just lower the bow. And I'm just going to be like, why do you relax? What is the purpose?
Relax, so you don't always walk around and seem like you want to murder everybody in the room.
I don't want to murder everybody in the room.
Have a drink.
List.
Have a drink. Smoke. Eat some food. Enjoy the little things.
I do enjoy the little things. And then I pull up an arrow. I'm like, they're tiny little points and they go into enemies. I don't understand.
I can't argue with that. You cheeky fucker.
What? I don't. Yes, hello, Shadow.
Tell you what.
Yep.
You come have a drink with me. And you can keep that bow.
I mean, I won't say no to that. Seems like a good deal to me.
Sold.
Yes, it does. Yep. I am off to have a single drink of probably way stronger alcohol than I think I'm signing up for.
He's gonna smack you on the back as you walk past him, like good buddy style. Like, all
oh
right.
God, did I just make a friend? God fucking damn it! And I like follow him.
Forced friendship.
I just follow him to whatever their makeshift bar is.
So they lead you back outside to the tent. Where you see just a decent collection. There's like kind of a smaller he's a human, but he's quite short, very diminutive by human standards.
Right.
And he's currently serving drinks. And you see a small cooking spit in the back. The cooking spit's over the bonfire. That's my mistake. And you see a similarly diminutive woman that looks too identical to him to be any kind of spouse. This is definitely like a twin sibling. And while he's like selling drinks at the bar and handing out bread and stuff, she's like sitting there just roasting a giant spit of pork. And as Lilkness Linax approaches, he says, "Just do please, the special stuff."
He did not like that. 1 second, I think he wants out and he's giving me lip, so I do have to step away. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I did have one other thing I wanted to do.
You're all done?
I have one other thing I wanted to do.
Hit me.
Yeah. You said there was an armory that I saw when I walked into the underground part, yeah?
Going back to the underground map.
Yes, I would like to go find that all.
So there's like a
less limp, but still a bit,
storage.
I would assume. I would assume I'm doing a lot better after pumping 5 healing spells into my foot.
You can move an extra 5 feet compared to what you could before. So you're
Sweet, only 5 feet down now. Cool.
Yeah. So there's a blacksmith there, which I definitely should have positioned by the running water, but if you say that to him, I swear to God I'll kill you. I'm going to retcon it. You never oh shit. This is the
Oh,
best stuff to leave in.
Stanislav doesn't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah, no.
He thinks this whole place is amazing.
There's ventilation here. That's why he's in this.
Makes sense.
But yeah, you can
Walk
walk
in
right
there.
in there. So you head in.
Perfect.
What are you looking for exactly?
I want to upgrade my armor. See if I can get something that doesn't cause disadvantage on stealth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you make your way in. You go through kind of this large central chamber area in between the houses, and you can see you can like see the smoke kind of billowing out one doorway, kind of venting up through the open space in the top and slowly making its way out of the cavern.
I
You
also just
hear
want to see the armory because, you know,
ding.
weapons.
And as you enter, you see a massive Goliath, hulking, standing a good 7 or 8 feet tall. Truly massive individual. Very Terry Crews looking. Dark gray skin with kind of those nice dark markings throughout the body that almost twirl at the ends and kind of come to like a hook. And he's just standing over an anvil, hammering a sword into place, beating away at it. With every hit, you see the metal moving more than your average smith could achieve.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of let him do his thing there and admire and look at the work that he's displayed.
Yeah,
Whatever he has up.
You see a little bit. There's a couple project weapons. This like the forge is separate from the armory. The armory is the next door and it's locked. It's closed. You can't actually see through it. But as he's standing there forging, he notices. He's like, "Yeah, what can I do for you?"
Hello, friend. I'm possibly looking to get a bit of an upgrade to my armor.
You can do that.
You look like you definitely can. This stuff is a little bit loud.
Yeah, the metal stuff usually is. What are you looking for exactly?
I don't know, something that's good in protecting, but still not necessarily too loud. Let me look. Armor proficient.
Come with me. And he ding, finishes hammering the metal and quenches it in the oil next to him, pulls it out. I think I got something for you. And he leads you up to the next door and pulls out a large iron key, inserts it into the metal door lock and twists it and opens the door and goes in, and you see just kind of it's a basic armory. Basic long swords, axes, shields, your standard weapons array, and then you see a number of racks of armor. And some of them have this kind of like elvish design to them. And like you do see a rack of chainmail that's kind of like a shimmering gold color almost, but it's kind of muted by the fact they put like a bit of white cloth over it. So you can see the shimmer of chainmail, but it's kind of hidden by like these almost deserty looking robes. And he kind of like walks over to it and holds it up, shakes it, and as he's jingling it, it makes some noise because it's chainmail, but far less than you would expect.
That's interesting. It's beautiful.
Yeah, this'll do what you're wondering.
Wait, is that what I think it is?
What do you think it is?
Is that mithril?
1 second. I had the item done up. Again, I did custom armor for these people, but all my fucking documents are all fucked up.
Where's Gimli says mithril?
Mithril.
Yeah, I think it is. Where when you thinking? Just let me go to my stuff. Equipment. Thank you. Fucking God. Everything's all weird.
It's all weird all the time.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah, I was thinking elven chainmail because it's like supposed to negate the disadvantage principle of chainmail. But that is not what I thought it was.
It's an elven chain shirt.
That's it.
Yes.
That's what I was.
And it's just called elven chain, quote unquote, but it's a chain shirt, not a chainmail.
Yeah, +1 to bonus AC while you wear this armor and consider proficient even you lack proficiency with it. But it doesn't negate the stealth penalty like I thought it would.
Right. That would be
That's what the question is, isn't it?
that would be mithril, which is
No, if it is.
green if it's normal, blue if it's magical.
Sorry, folks. I'm just figuring this out real quick.
Which, yeah, Mithril Chainmail has the same AC as normal, but doesn't have a strength requirement and doesn't impose disadvantage on
There you
itself.
go. It's Mithril. Thank you.
Yes.
I thought it was the Elven Chain. I was all excited, but no.
No, that one's just anyone can wear it.
Yeah.
Which
So
is
it
also
is a set of Mithril armor, chainmail, and he's kind of shaking it. And again, it doesn't make nearly as much sound as you expect something of that weight should.
that looks like exactly what I need.
How much you got on you?
I mean, what do you want for it?
Well, money.
I've got money.
Shit isn't easy to make. Do you know how long it takes to learn to make elven chainmail? Do I look like an elf to you?
No, you look much stronger.
Roll me a persuasion check for offhanded compliment that took DM off guard.
Only a 10.
Only a 10.
Yeah.
He smiles. I'm trying to look up the price right now because it's being a turd. It's the green set, right? So that's an uncommon.
Mhm.
700 gold pieces. It's all yours.
Call it 650.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Come on, be more than 10.
Jeez. Call it 650.
700 it is.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, all right, I'll fork over 700 gold.
Yeah.
40 platinum and 300 gold.
Sounds good. He kind of holds it out to you very gingerly for a Goliath. Even though he's giant and hulking, you can tell this is someone who's had to spend a lot of time learning to make elven stuff from other elven smiths who are no longer around, and has mastered their craft and has quite a delicate touch for someone of his size.
This is great.
You can add that to your inventory.
Right on. I'm gonna fucking put it on right now.
Go ahead.
Yep. And perhaps this normal chainmail, if there's a soldier who needs it, it's in great condition. It's all yours.
He looks at it, hands you back 50 gold.
Appreciate it.
You had said you wanted to trade it before, I would have given you a cheaper price. Can't get you anything else. I gotta get back to work.
That's all. Thank you so much.
All right. And he just goes back to his forge, begins reheating a new piece of metal, start forging a new project on. I guess reheating the other piece. Either way. Starts back on his project, and you are now the possessor of a piece of mithril armor.
Sick.
Stack.
Zach.
There you go. Damn. Okay. So,
Good thing I didn't give more than I was planning on.
going back to Atin, you sit down at the bar with Linax and similar wooden cups to what I described. The Fias is using very rudimentary basic cup. He slides it over to you. Don't worry, it's not that strong. You'll be all right. Wine, it's good wine.
Yeah.
Elvish, do you know how hard it is to get that stuff here?
I look around, try to count the number of elves.
At first glance, there's a lot, or at least half elves.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say much easier than most other places.
No, not really. Had to get imports from the Elven Conclave these days. Things are a little tense after them. Most of us can't even get home.
Where do you call home?
The forests of the Shadewood.
Sounds delightful.
Peaceful, if nothing else. We have not known that in many time.
Yeah, I am sorry to hear that.
Don't
That
drink
is
wine
good.
much. It is.
God damn it. Yeah, I don't tend to drink too much at any given time, especially not when you're on the job.
You're not on the job. We're waiting. Keep sipping his drink.
Well, the thing is if we're waiting and I get called now, then I'm drunk.
You won't be called for some time. I'm sure you can handle one.
I'll handle this.
Just keeps drinking, and at this point, kind of just goes a little quieter. Enjoys the beverage and the company.
When was the last time you were home?
Well, nearly 100 years.
Why'd you leave? I'm assuming you didn't have a choice, but
War. Sure, you know about the war between the elves.
it's come up once or twice.
Well, as you know, they're at war any other given year. So,
Did you were you forced out or did you enlist?
came here with my family. My mother and father were both soldiers, and they didn't have anyone to leave me back home with. So I was training. I'm ready to take up arms myself. Be my first excursion
When did
beyond
you
the
decide?
borders.
When did you decide to fight?
The day after they died.
When was that?
Before the end of the war. The second. Okay.
Lord, Lord.
Yeah. Nearly 130 years ago.
So tell me, have you been fighting ever since? No
Not
breaks,
always. Not always against them. And
but always fighting.
always. Hence this. And the need to take time to appreciate the smaller things.
Have you ever lost? I'm gonna try to finish off what I've got left and push it back to the barkeep.
A few times. But I always get better. Safe to say no one won that war in particular.
No one ever wins a war.
But I survived. Suppose that counts as a win.
That's the closest you're gonna get.
The closest any of us get.
I mean, I don't understand how one can fight and have been fighting for 130 years. And yet you can relax. How do you afford to relax?
Fighting is all you ever do. That's all your body knows. Doesn't take you to a good place, and every now and again you need to get out of it. There's more to life than just war, my friend.
Not for us, there's not.
No. I'd say we've earned our right to enjoy the little thing. What small pleasures life can bring.
You know, it's interesting. Pleasure is not nearly as definable as we sometimes make it out to be. We might be worthy of the small pleasures. We might have earned those small pleasures. But what if those pleasures are someone else's suffering?
That's why we buy the elvish wine.
That's why we buy the elvish wine.
That's not going on a t-shirt. That's a fucking t-shirt right there.
There you go. Clip it, t-shirt it, sell it. Perhaps this is good for the soldiers. Perhaps this is good for morale. Probably is. But when you're responsible for someone else's life, you can't afford those pleasures.
I agree.
And that's why I'm stopping with one.
That's fair. That is why I will not be. I'm off duty tonight. I already did my part, saving your ass. He goes and gets his glass filled again. Continues sipping.
For what it's worth, it was appreciated.
Well, I'm glad that is appreciated at least.
Well then, I better make sure Stanislav has not outshinied himself and got himself into a second arena battle in 2 days.
That wouldn't sound fairly out of character for him, from what I understand.
No, and now that I'm thinking about it, perhaps a duel today may have set the wrong idea. That's a problem for later. Have a good night and enjoy your pleasures.
I'll do my best. Good night.
And I leave.
So
I've already gone to find where we've been told to sleep for the night because I'm exhausted. I have point exhaustion.
So
So I need
you're
yeah.
essentially going to be in the soldiers' barracks over here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a group dormitory, more or less, for the unmarried men who fight in the... Essentially, it's for the unmarried men in the area, or women, co-ed.
Sure.
Essentially, you walk in and there's these square rooms, but there's a staircase that runs spiral up of it, and as like it continues to go up, there's small pods dug into the walls with sleeping bedrolls kind of lined up in them, almost like those hotels that you see in like Japan. Kind of very like nooky.
Or a submarine.
Yeah, kind of is. Yeah, exactly. And they're like dug right into the wall, and as it goes up, you see there's about 3 per side, and it just keeps going. It goes up for
cozy.
What would approximate to about 6 or 7 stories, probably.
I assume I'm shown to a bed.
Yeah, you get one of the pods.
Neat.
Near the top, because it's the warmest. People
Fantastic.
don't like that pod.
Yeah, I've crawled in and out before I can hit the pillow.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Like, it's spacious enough you can get in there. Odd and you two are led in here when you signal that you're ready for sleep, and you're surprised. I'd say at like just A, how quick Stanislav fell asleep, and B, how many pods there are actually built, and every single one is full. This is a larger force than meets the eye originally. I think that's you think that's probably how they want it. A sizable force.
Bluffs are very important in war. And yeah, I'll go to sleep. And I've just apparently been enlisted in the military for at least a little bit, and that's fine.
Yep. So at that point, we're going to call out the session for the evening because we're literally just hitting the 3-hour mark. And this was a little bit of a shorter one. All RP. That was fun. We haven't done an RP session in a while. So thank you everyone who came by. JT, Potato, fucking every single one of you. Deathmare with the host. Chris, thank you for resubbing, by the way. Much appreciated. The subs go a long way. We're going to find someone to raid out on. I'm going to call it a night on the stream for the time being, and we hope to see you next week for our next meeting of the cross-country compatriots. Thanks, guys. Peace out.